I got good news and I got bad news, and then they're both the same. The Toronto Raptors tank is dead. Scottie Barnes in goggles was back, and the Raptors beat the Minnesota Timberwolves after a fourth quarter clobbering. Clobbering. That's really what it was. It was a complete dissection of their defense. It was awesome to see, and Goggle Scottie is real. The Toronto Raptors get a very Canadian performance tonight, exhibiting their new City Edition uniforms as well as their City Edition court, which looked fire. And I hope they keep it for the rest of the season. Give this video a like, man. That was a hard fought win against a team that did not give it to you. You took it. You took it. And we're going to do a lot of film breakdown. Hopefully, we're going to have a really lively call-in show today. This was a big win. Now, I'll remind you that Scottie Barnes has not played in 11 games. Okay. And the last time he played, you were up 6 against the Denver Nuggets. Okay. And you weren't fully healthy back then either. This dude leads to winning, and he makes it easier for everybody else. Number one, he sucks up a very tough defender in Jaden McDaniels, who made life living hell for the Toronto Raptors tonight and had a very competent game. The Toronto Raptors are quite blessed today at the free throw line. You don't usually see the Raptors win the free throw disparity by this much. And the Raptors shoot 10% better from the field. We're going to take a look at the game. We're going to take a look at the game recap. We're going to take a look at the box score. Then we're going to look at the game film. We're going to see what looked good, what looked maybe not so good. There's a lot of good and bad. And for a little while, I'm going to tell you in the third quarter, it felt like the Raptors were going to lose. I'm going to level with you 100%. Walked into this game, found out Scottie was playing around 1 p.m. I immediately said, I think the Raptors are going to win this game. And then it starts out, and I'm like, I really hope Scottie's starting at point guard. You know, make my point guard great again was my slogan for this day. And I really didn't want to see Ochai Agbaji go to the bench. That was really my only dog in this race. I didn't want to see Ochai get snubbed, and I also don't want to be small. The Raptors bucked the trend. Darko Rajakovic does the impossible. He starts Scottie Barnes at point. And I got to tell you, against a team that applies this much ball pressure with Anthony Edwards and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels, 3 of the better perimeter defenders in the league, that was a gutsy move. And the Raptors suffered for it quite a bit. A lot of turnovers in the first half. A lot of turnovers in that first quarter, specifically leading to live ball turnovers, leading to a lot of defensive issues. And I'm going to talk about the link between defense and offense for those of you who haven't heard my rant on this 100 times. I was talking about it on the panel today, and man, it was important today because the Raptors didn't have a lot of floor balance at times. And I got to tell you, like, this was a gutsy win. It was a gutsy win. It was a come from behind victory, really. When momentum had swung the other way, you put it together in the fourth quarter. You grab your balls defensively, you grab them by the balls, and you just say, okay, we are going to will this victory. And a lot of that had to do with very efficient play from RJ Barrett. When Scottie went to the bench, Scottie Barnes was on a minute restriction. He did not clip 30 minutes tonight. As he gets more comfortable, as those goggles come off, I'm telling you, this dude is about to take a leap. And I'm the guy telling you in the offseason, this team's too good to tank. This team's way more talented than you think. Well, Denver, Minnesota, the tests are real. When the Raptors have both RJ Barrett and Scottie Barnes in the lineup, which has been for very few minutes this season, they've looked good. We have never seen it with Emmanuel Quickley. Once we see it, I think you might feel a little bit differently about this team. All right. Let's take a look at what happened where. Okay, so overall, if you want to look at the game cast, this is going to be a tale of just a massive comeback. I'll guarantee you that the Raptors were favored to lose this game pretty much until they weren't. There you go. That was it. The Raptors were barely ever favored to win this game. And if they were, it was like by 3%. And that was in the second quarter, early second quarter, where the Raptors grabbed a 34-30 lead. But the Minnesota Timberwolves walked into this game as 8-point favorites, 8.5-point favorites. Vegas expected, even without Mike Conley, they expected this team to come out and put the clamps on the Raptors. And it didn't happen that way. It got up to the point where Minnesota was up 72-65, but the Raptors kept themselves in this game, and they were 80% favored to win. And then we just saw 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, and that was that final Scottie stint. And RJ and Scottie And it just really looked great, man. I gotta tell you, it really looked great. Let's take a look at who did what. And Anthony Edwards got himself into a little bit of foul trouble in the first half, picks up a forced foul early in that third quarter. Finch decides to keep him in, which ends up being a good move. Anthony Edwards finally caught a wave. He had only 5 points in the first half. He finishes the game with 26. But Scottie Barnes, 17 points in 27 minutes on 5 for 11 shooting. He gets 5 for 6 from the line, including a flagrant foul. We'll talk about the flagrant. We'll talk about, potentially the Naj Reid injury. I'm not sure what was made of that, but Jakob Poeltl, a little bit limited tonight. I got to be honest, like a little bit limited, and a lot of defensive issues. A lot of issues, in my opinion, making decisions in the half court. Sometimes just late rotations. There's going to be a lot of film where just Jakob just does not really register the fact that it's his assignment to box out. So he had a really tough game despite the box score. 15 points, 12 rebounds, respectable. But the Minnesota Timberwolves got on the glass a lot on his stints. RJ Barrett, really good game, really competent game, got to the line 12 times, 10 for 14, super efficient, wasn't chucking shots. 31 points for RJ Barrett tonight, including a lot late. He also had 4 turnovers. Grady had 4 turnovers. Turnovers, again, big issue tonight. Ochai Agbaji, a bit of a stinker, right? 2 for 5. Touch around the basket seems to have dissipated a little bit. Hopefully he can regain it, but not the greatest game from him tonight. Offensively and defensively, he got cooked a few times too, but 4 points for him. And Grady Dick with 9 points, 4 for 9 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, 6 rebounds. He was average. Like, he had really good moments. He had really tough moments. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I don't think Chris Boucher had the greatest game to start, but man, he finished it strong, right? You're gonna really think I'm crazy when I say this, but I think the Raptors best bench player tonight. Y'all want to venture a guess who I think the Raptors best bench player was tonight? Just take a guess. Who do you think I'm talking about? The Raptors best bench player. So Jonathan Mobile was very competent. Seven rebounds, 6 points. He was really active. He got 5 offensive boards. That was great. And Jamison Battle was competent in his 7 minutes. Jakob Poeltl is back tonight. Ulrich Shumshay did dress. Neither of them got into the game. That's fully expected. Jamal Shed struggled a little bit, right? 0 points, 0 assists. He had a couple of moments, but defensively he was good. But my player of the game off the bench was not Chris Boucher, even though Boucher was very good. It was actually Davion Mitchell. I thought Davion in the pick and roll, just very competent. Some of his defensive digs, some of the pressure that he applied on Anthony Edwards, I thought the plays were really good. And just generally speaking, he usually feels really sped up and very out of sorts. And tonight, coming off the bench, he felt a little bit more in his element. And honestly, I was very impressed. I don't think I've seen quite this level of competency from Davion in quite some time. So this was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. Lyra Alvarez saying, "What? Are you shocked that I said Davion?" Yo, I'm just giving the guy flowers. I thought Chris was great. I thought Chris was active. I thought Chris took shots in rhythm for the most part, but he also took a lot of like really crazy shots too. He was open a lot more because it seemed like all the pressure that Minnesota was applying ended up ending up in Chris Boucher taking grenades, and he made some, right? And started taking back his take to send Davion to China next season. No, I'm good. He could still go to China, but he had a great game. I thought he played really good. Country Kong, apology pod. Yo, HC, we want a Davion apology. You're not gonna get one. He needs to string together like a consecutive month or 2 of this play for me to excuse all the terrible play this year. But again, tonight he was good. And for the Minnesota side, again, I think they got a pretty balanced attack from their 3 main players. But, you cheated off of Dante DiVincenzo quite a few times tonight, and you didn't pay for it nearly as much as I thought they would. They doubled off on Brandel quite a few times, which we'll look at in the film. Grady, Ochai, etc., and they left Dante DiVincenzo wide open. And I don't necessarily think that's a good idea ever. And he only capitalized 4 for 12. He has not been great this year. Anthony Edwards, 9 for 20 from the field. He's usually going to take a lot of threes. He took 9 tonight. It's not abnormal to see Anthony Edwards take 15, 16 threes. I don't think he had a great game at all. by his standards, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 26 points on sub 50% shooting. I think you did a pretty good job. He got hot from 3. I'll give him that. But inside the arc, you held him pretty well. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was virtually invisible. I had to double check my eyes that he actually played this game. Rudy Gobert was a menace defensively. I think he clogged up the lane and did a really good job. And Jaden McDaniels, I think, just had a really competent game. Very good. Defensively, very impactful. Offensively, really competent, right? This is all you can ask for him. The Raptors were willing to live with it. For him to take threes, he took 6. He made 2. You live with that, right? And 23 points from Julius Randle, who was just living at the line. Like, the Raptors put him at the line, and he was baiting calls, and he is just, it's a skill. And he knows that skill. He has that skill in his bag. The Raptors, again, 51% from field versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, 41% from field. The Raptors shoot 30% from 3. Not a hot night from 3. Scottie had a couple that went in, and then he had one that was like, oh my God, that's a bank. Like, he banked it off the backboard and it didn't go in. And then there was one that just completely airballed off the backboard. So, tough shooting night for the Raptors. But again, that's going to be that's going to be what it's going to be without Kelly Olynyk, without Jakob Poeltl in the lineup, without Emmanuel Quickley. Like, you're missing some of your better 3-point shooters, and you're kind of playing some of your not so great 3-point shooters, which pretty much compromises your entire 3-point identity. And yeah, and the Raptors, their saving grace tonight was they lived at the line, right? And they made just enough of them, right? 29 for 39 is no one's idea of great, but again, you live with it. You make more free throws. You get to the line. You got into the bonus early in multiple quarters. The Raptors get 22 assists. This is not usually the recipe for success, right? We're talking about 30 assists as the clip mark. And there was a lot of times where the Raptors got very stagnant against pressure. They started to dance with the ball a little too much. Points in the paint, not easy to do, man. 56 to 40, winning the points in the paint battle. And the total turnovers, despite the fact that they led early, it pretty much evened out by the third quarter. And it was pretty much even Steven throughout the game. And it's 17-17 on the turnovers. The Raptors get 11 steals to their 12. Yeah, overall, not much else to see there. Okay, let's take a look at this. One sec here. Let's take a look at the game film. 511 people in here. I would appreciate you guys like this video. I would be very much appreciated. And if you'd like to call in, absolutely, link is in the description. Feel free to call in. Okay, we got 5 super chats. Hang on. Let me just answer some super chats, and we'll get to the film breakdown. Scottie is a leader. When he hugged everyone at the end, let's effing go. We're actually going to look at that because that was a very cathartic moment for sure. Canadian guy, yes. Rest in peace, Chad Posthumous. Canadian basketball player passed away at the age of 33 of a brain aneurysm. Yes, that is true. Rest in peace to Chad, and our respects to his family. Chad was a major player in the 3-on-3. So to those who don't know, you want to pay your respects, by all means, certainly share that news. I'm sure he will be mourned and missed by many. Thank you for the super chat, Canadian guy. Shata saying, ain't smiled in 3 weeks till 4 suited up tonight. You and me, brother. You and me. Absolutely. Scholar Barnes studies the game for real. AC saying, Scholar Barnes studies the game for real. Yo, he dissected them for sure. Fourth quarter gang, where you at? Represent with the 444. Bueno Kitty, you said you were going to donate 444 to get off the snacks. I think if I remember correctly, that's what you were saying. Well, thank you very much. And fourth quarter gang, where are you guys at? To those of you who don't know about the fourth quarter gang, it's about finishing the year strong. If you want to join the fourth quarter gang, subscription is free. Okay, let's get to this. So let's get to the film breakdown. A lot of film to break down. It's all going to be a little bit jumbled in terms of the order, but bear with me for a second. Let's get into this, man. Okay, so Scottie, the RJ Barrett drive takes Naz Reid off the bounce, right? And that's going to create a collapse. Rudy Gobert is not on the court. Naz Reid is a pretty decent defender. Julius Randle is hopeless. And Naz Reid does his job. Randle, for whatever reason, is just like, let me get out of the way. Let me just get out of the way. I don't want anything to do with this. That's the paint. I'm a guard. Okay. Well, Jonathan Mobile will take those cookies and he will smash them through. Jonathan Mobile literally looked mad at the rim there. So I love that. Okay. Now, this was a particularly egregious play by RJ Barrett, and I did not like this at all. Okay. And this is like, we always talk about, in basketball, you talk about when you make a mistake, the best thing to do is not to make a second mistake, right? So here's the first mistake, right? So again, little snake dribble, and Dante DiVincenzo is going to pick it, right? And this was just the story of the tape for RJ has pretty much been as a first option whenever he's been operating on the court. This tends to happen a lot. He drives himself into traffic, the handle's a little bit loose, and it gets stripped away. And this time, Dante DiVincenzo does a great job of just taking it away. So now he's a little bit slow to recover because he takes like a half second to sort of slap the ground, right? He's almost like frustrated there, if you can see him. And then he's going to get back. And because he's the last guy back, he's got to tag the roller. And the guy rolling into the paint right now is one of the biggest lob targets, vertical threat targets in the NBA, which is Rudy Gobert. You got to know that that's your man. Defensively, that's your IQ. You got to know you can't allow this to happen. And it's like he's watching this happen and then he just lets it happen. This can't happen. So watch that again, right? So I fast forwarded a little bit, but okay, turnover, shit, it happens. Now get back, right? Now you're going bar for bar right now. You can't double the ball randomly because Jamal Shad has already stopped and he has already picked up his dribble. So that's not a threat anymore. You got to find the threat. Now, you could say RJ Barrett's not an ideal matchup for Rudy Gobert, but this cannot happen. This is so projected. And to miss that is it's these types of plays that really break your back after a defensive play. Okay. Another play, this one, it's on Chris Boucher. So Chris Boucher gets the ball on the offense. He can't quite gather it. And so he kind of tosses it away and it goes to Dante DiVincenzo. Luckily, Dante DiVincenzo tosses this one to Naz Reid in the corner and he falls out of bounds as well. But it's just a good example of, trying to be a little bit more composed with the ball. Oh, we got a little bit of Scottie Barnes action here. This was not his first shot. You'll see his first shot later. But man, Scottie wanted all the smoke tonight, eh? Confident, love it. Great. Holds the follow through, puts it in his face. That was totally contested, 28 feet, no problem. Okay. Now, this is called living on the edge. Living on the edge of, danger. Now, you see Dante DiVincenzo there. You're forcing Jonathan Mobo to split his attention between two defenders in case, and Mobo is smart. So he's just immediately, Mobo is so brilliant. Like, really, it's just moments like this that you really start to understand, like, the scheme. You see Mobo here. The minute Ochai adjusts, Mobo immediately stunts into the middle there to just make sure that he's in a little bit better position to recover on Dante to prevent, and he's still got his, and look at Mobo's awareness of the cutter behind him, which is Jaden McDaniels. Now, Ochai is not going to close out in time, and this is going to result in a three that clanks. And this is why I said you live dangerously, because that's way too much daylight to give a shooter like Dante DiVincenzo, right? This is another mistake. And this is just long shot, long rebound. Some very many times tonight, Chris Boucher and Jakob Poeltl were just caught looking at the basketball, not realizing. And again, they're both good enough rebounders that this was just a mental lapse. And I don't think that the Raptors really dialed up their mentality until the fourth quarter. So there's a lot of stuff like this. This was another example of them doubling down on Julius Randle. So they double down on Julius, but luckily the ref calls travel. So Grady was aggressive enough. Scottie did this a few times as well. Like when you're aggressive enough, sometimes you can panic a person into making a mistake. And Randall made a mistake a few times there. All right. Take a look at this one. Again, this is a 3-on-1. RJ Barrett. You need to put this up to Ochai Agbaji, which is ironic because Grady literally has a similar situation later and he's going to put it up to RJ. You cannot bounce past this because you are now just handing it to, and again, it's inexcusable in any sense. You're 54, 51. You cannot throw this like this. This is an egregious mistake. And to those people saying RJ should play point guard, you really need to consider what you're talking about. Okay, we can talk about him having evolved as a playmaker a little bit, but we cannot talk about him being a point guard if he's going to make mistakes like that. Okay, all right, now here we go. Here's Scottie using a little dribble manipulation here. Okay, that's Jaden McDaniels, right? One of the best pressure wing defenders in the league. Yak sets a little screen here. Scottie's going to come down. And the second Rudy Gobert commits, there's the pass to Jakob Poeltl. Brilliant play. Watch that again. Here comes Scottie. Use the Yak screen. And it's literally the second that it becomes impossible for the defender to recover, because Rudy Gobert is not two people. He's one person. And he is committed here to Scottie Barnes because Scottie Barnes has gotten free. And if he doesn't commit, Scottie's got to be willing to take this shot, right? But he does commit, which means Scottie's got to be willing to make this pass. Now, this is a place where you don't want to lob it up because Rudy Gobert is going to disrupt that. Now, when the defender is high, you go low, right? What's that Michelle Obama quote? When they go low, we go high, or when they go high, we go low, whatever the hell it was. It's kind of the same thing with basketball. Okay. Now, this is an example of Jakob Poeltl kind of losing his box out assignment here. So Yak is going to box out, again, third quarter, right? Game still in the balance. Raptors are holding it. Now, Yak just kind of bounces off his hands. That happened a lot to the Raptors tonight. And give me a W if you saw that happen a lot. Like, where's just the ball just bounces. Like one time it bounced into RJ's hands and it just bounces out. That's focus as much as it is anything else. You can't have two players back. Scottie has got to go to that. Yak has got to go to that. And you cannot have your arms up at each other, kind of like, what's going on? No, you messed up, right? It's just, that's what it is. You messed that up and, do better. All right. Jamison battle. This was, this is hard. What he did here, first of all, Naz Reid is really quick. Like on the perimeter, he's fully equipped to guard a smaller, a bigger small forward like this. But that little stop that he does to get himself on balance there, that little stop gather, I could guarantee you that Darko's been working with him on that, and it's paying off. It's almost like he doesn't even trust it to go in, but it goes in. If he can figure that out to punish to punish defenders who are going to run him off the line, that would be awesome. Okay. Again, dissecting Rudy Gobert, right? So if you're Scottie Barnes, goggle Scottie, looking like an 80s superstar here, okay? Again, you're going up. You've drawn 3 defenders basically, right? Anthony Edwards right there. Rudy Gobert right there, right? And he's got the inside track that if Rudy Gobert backs off, he's going to bump Jaden McDaniels and go right to the rim. So Rudy Gobert has to close this gap. But as one gap closes, another opens, right? And here comes that bounce pass again. And there we go. Love it. That was great. Okay. Now we got to get some more plays here. Get to the bottom. Hang on one sec. Got that. Got that. Got that. Wait, y'all want to see the first Scottie shot? That was crazy. I got to mute the music though. Hang on one sec. Okay. Okay. So first things first, Scottie Barnes in transition is going to see Grady Dick. I'll apologize for the kind of grainy video there. That's before I switched over to 4K. My bad. Here, Scottie Barnes just picks this pass off. This isn't going to result in much. It's going to result in a weird. And here's Scottie Barnes with his first basket in almost a month. And he immediately picks up a technical foul. Yo, that had me dead. I was laughing my ass off. Yo, I got so hyped when he did that because y'all remember he did that to Mikal Bridges as well. And I was just laughing so hard. He was so amped. Like he was like a child, you know, like kids get like super excited. I don't mean that demeaning way. I just mean like the enthusiasm and the desperation were absolutely like, yeah, that will be absolutely paramount. Okay. Okay. This was a flagrant that was called in the second half. So, interestingly enough, this was initially called a common foul, and Scottie Barnes snitched. I like that. Good job, Scottie, snitching there. And this was a really great cut by Grady Dick, but also a great pass from Jakob Poeltl. So Grady brought the ball up past to Jakob, and then once his defender starts lagging a little bit, he immediately cuts. And that's Nickeil Alexander-Walker getting cut to death. Okay. And then this is one of my favorite sequences. Not my favorite sequence, but this is one of my favorite sequences. Here's Scottie Barnes. This is again, game on the line, 97-95. I want y'all to realize what I tell you. The game flipped at the 5-minute mark. And that's really where Scottie went to work. Okay. Watch this. Defensively, this Julius Randle. Julius Randle's a bully. Julius Randle's a grown-ass man. And this is Scottie Barnes and Jakob Poeltl forcing a turnover. But that was really Scottie and his pressure. Look at this. Getting in the stance, bump, going bump for bump, and forcing just this terrible pass. And, you know, credit where credit is due. Some of that is luck. Rudy Gobert doesn't catch that. And less than what felt like 5 seconds later, Scottie grabs it, goes all the way down, and then he's going to do something that had a lot of people cheering at Scotiabank tonight. Look at this. Again, the best defender on their team is on you. The second best defender is shading. What do you do if you're Scottie Barnes? They're pretty much telling you, Scottie Barnes, you're going to have to shoot if you're going to beat us because we're not letting you get into the paint. We got Rudy Gobert back there. We got, you know, Randall ready to help here. We got Anthony Edwards on the weak side. We are not. Like, look at the pressure that one player is drawing. So before you start counting box score and say, "Oh, Scottie Barnes only had 17 points," look at the attention that he's drawing. He's got 5 eyes on him. Every single Minnesota Timberwolves is focusing on Goggle Man here. Okay, and he's going to take one of the best, longest, damn near 6'9" defenders in the league in the clutch and put him in the woodshed, bro. That's really impressive. I don't give a shit who you are. That's some Kawhi shit right there. Okay. That was awesome. Now, look at this. Just great defense, brilliant pass. RJ Barrett, quick pass up. Jakob Poeltl strips Dante DiVincenzo there, gives it to RJ. RJ makes the pitch ahead to Scottie, who's leaking out. Scottie does that thing that he's been doing all the way since Mauverd, all the way since Cardinal Newman, all the way since NSU, watching this kid pretty much for the last 5-6 years. 7 years? It's been long, bro. I was thinking, my God. Yes, I'm watching Scottie since grade 10. That's crazy. And this was probably my favorite play of the night. This pass by Grady is so awesome, and this finish by RJ is so great. Watch this. Just right over Anthony Edwards' head. It's so poetic. You know, it's like you got the game kind of in the balance. It doesn't feel like it's going to go back, but it could go back. You know, there was a turnover, a really ugly turnover. But when you got this one, bro, the house exploded. I am so happy for every single person who attended tonight, including my buddy Adam. Shout outs to Adam, including my buddy Jessica. Shout outs to Jessica, including my friend Lucy. Yo, this is what you got to experience tonight. This right here. Look at this. Scottie hanging on the rim, bumping RJ. He's super excited. Gives a bump to Yak. Then he heads over. He's like, Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota Timberwolves. Just look, this is just pure excitement. Yo, these are winners. I want to tell you, these are winners. These are actual people who win basketball games. These are the people who care about winning. And when you care about winning, losing as much as the Raptors have is hard. So I'm encourage you to call in if you have something to say. We got one caller lined up. Please call in, have a lively discussion about this. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? There's 290 comments. Okay, let's bring on ZigsawPuzzle, and we're going to try to keep calls moving quickly. Okay, so again, let me just post the link again. And yes, hold on one sec here. And I'm going to keep posting it till y'all call in because I want to hear the unbridled enthusiasm, the overreactions, all of it. Okay, here we go. Tariq saying, yo, the live is lit right now. Yes, sir, it is. Okay, I'm gonna tell any caller, if you rain on this parade, I will boot your ass so fast. Okay, go. What's up, ZigsawPuzzle?
Fourth quarter, gang.
What's going on, fourth quarter, gang? What's up?
Oh, our commander's finally back.
Scottie Barnes? Yeah, man.
Yes, that's our leader, our commander. He shot down that tank so fast today, from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, all the way. And he was, he only played what? He played 11 minutes in the first half. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, he played 16 minutes in the second half.
It was amazing. It was amazing to see because there was one stretch where he was involved in every play, both ends of the floor. It was sometimes I want him to play just one end, but he just won't. He has to be the Swiss Army knife. He just has to do it. He doesn't want to lose. This kid doesn't want to lose. The interview 2 days ago, this man you could tell he wanted to be back right away. I was sure after that interview 2 days ago that he wanted back. He wanted to win with his guys.
Absolutely. What'd you think of the defense tonight? Because holding this team now, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. I don't think the Minnesota Timberwolves had the greatest offensive showing. I think they missed a lot of makeable shots. But I do like the pressure with which the Raptors played. For the most part, I thought there was a lot of compete. Ochai, Davion, Scottie. I think there was a lot of competition defensively. Chris Boucher was scrappy. Jonathan Mobo was great. There was some real encouraging moments with Jamal Shed. What'd you think of the defense tonight?
Yeah, Scottie being back was so important because Yak was doing a lot of work in the back line, and him coming back added a lot of leeway for Yak to play help defense as well. They both play off each other on defense, I feel. So him being back, because he's also cutting the passing lanes to let's say Gobert, Nasri today. I don't know if Wolves, like you said, I don't know if Wolves play good defense good offense, or if it was our defense was actually pretty good.
I think it was a mixture of both. The Wolves have been struggling to find their identity offensively this year. They're one of the healthiest teams in the league, and they have not performed to expectation. It's been a bit of a clunky fit. Sometimes it's a little bit of my turn, your turn basketball. There's maybe too many threes, not a lot of spacing. I think losing Karl-Anthony Towns really hurt their spacing, as we're seeing in New York what it's doing for their spacing. The two-man game with Anthony Edwards plus Karl-Anthony Towns was really dominant. And losing that for I'm not saying Julius Randle can't shoot. He can shoot occasionally, but he's not a threat to score the way Cat is out there. So, yeah.
I think also what Cat had foul trouble. Sorry, Cat, not Cat. Ant had foul trouble today. So then we had the opportunity to double Julius Randle. I feel those plays that he showed. Randle's getting double because Ant's not on the floor. I think because they were trying to match up Hunt with Grady, and then it would be Ochai or thing. What's his name? Scottie Ochai would come to help on defense, so that Randle has to find the open guy. But he's not a better passer than even Cat was. I feel a better passer last year than Randle this year.
That's an interesting observation. Yeah, typically because Randle gets so many assists, generally people think he's a much better passer. I think his passing is severely overrated.
It's it's short-sighted, on his passing, because he doesn't see the cutters. It's the same problem we have with RJ sometimes, but Julius Randle is more obvious because he's a post-up player compared to RJ, who does a bit more other stuff cutting, passing, shooting the threes. RJ shoots a three compared to I think better than Randle from the eye test. I actually don't know if he's a better three-point shooter than Randle.
I think he is a better three-point shooter than Randle, but Randle's been more consistently on volume. That being said, I have one final question for you. My question is, based on what you've seen with Scottie and RJ in the lineup, Denver game, this game, up 6 with 1 minute to go. This game, same thing, right?
Same story, yeah.
It's the same story. You're up 6 with a minute to go. It was the goddamn same thing. And I guarantee you right now, if at 5 minutes or so, Scottie gets smacked in the face, this game goes away too. So, given what you've seen, given
He
the fact
he almost got killed today. You know, on that foul. What's his name? With Nas Reed. I was so worried on that play.
Yo, like, I don't want to post this because you know when Scottie went down, like, okay, first of all, it was good because Scottie felt the pressure, he felt the 2 hands, and he immediately like didn't burst, right? Because that is dangerous. If Scottie skies when you're airborne and you get hit,
he would have bumped his shoulder, I think, on that play.
Oh, for sure. So later on, when Scottie goes to the ground and Nas Reed ends up rolling over, and I don't know what happened with that injury because I wasn't listening to the live feed. Did they say what happened with Nas Reed's injury?
I wasn't listening. I watch with sound off nowadays.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if someone has an update on what happened with Nas Reed. He seems to be down bad. So, I mean, my immediate thought was, I hope Nas Reed is okay. But my second thought, like the devil on my shoulder, said that karma's a bitch.
That was bad timing for him because like Scottie like protected his fall basically, and then he just bumped his shoulder on Nas Reed's knee. I think that's what from the replay. That's what it looked like.
Yeah. So sorry. So based on what you've seen between the Denver game and the Minnesota game, specifically against 2 teams that are supposed to be playoff teams in the West, both teams, you know, are pretty decent, not great teams, but decent teams, above 500 teams that you'd be shocked if they finished the year with less than 48 wins. And we beat Sacramento. Do you think the tank is dead?
I think it's dead just because Scottie's back. The only way the tank is alive if the refs eject Scottie every game. Like they have to give him 2 texts at the start of the tip-off. That's the only way.
So you can get 1 for the bang, bang, bang every single game, right? He just accidentally do it. Every single game he hits his first 3, he goes bang, boom, technical foul. So you're basically trying to turn Scottie into Rasheed Wallace. I love it. Okay,
Draymond Green. Draymond, Scottie Barnes Green.
Yo, I prefer the comparison to Rasheed Wallace. Respectfully to Draymond Green. I think I'm just I have
I'm going off the techs, you know, because Draymond's a tech merchant.
Yo, Rasheed was the biggest tech merchant.
Oh yeah. I didn't watch Rasheed because I started watching in 2014.
Okay, Rasheed Wallace was racking up like 45 to 50 technicals almost every single year. He broke records, man. Oh yeah, Rasheed Wallace. Look him up. Ball don't lie. Anyways, man, thanks a lot for calling. I appreciate you.
Yeah, take it easy.
Cheers. Okay, call-in link is in the description. If you would like to call in, here's the link. Please call in, have a conversation. It's cool. Rob, play that bucket by Barnes, the fadeaway on McDaniels. I already did, bro. I don't know if you missed it. You're gonna have to scroll back a little bit. AG saying, unfortunately, the tank is dead. Hal saying the devil is a liar. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but sure. Kenneth Lau saying the Raptors fell down to 5th on Tankathon. Oh, you're going to witness the fall of a century. And it's coming on the eve of a lot of people being very excited about Ace Bailey. But who knows? Who knows? You know, who knows? Anyways, takeaways from this game as we wait for more callers to populate. I think there's a lot of takeaways in this game, man. I think one of the takeaways was that, you know, it's difficult to be a player like Scottie and to play with goggles. Goggles massively restrict your peripheral vision. And you could see a couple of times he was throwing passes that just weren't on target. There was like one pass that he threw. It was just like, it was over. And he talked about this. He's like, my depth perception is off, right? So it feels like things are closer than they really are or further than they are. And my peripheral vision is off. So you basically had like, bro was actually basically Rain Man out there today. You know what I mean? Like that one eye being red, he's playing through, oh, it's not painful, but there's still vision impairment to some degree, right? I'm positive that wearing those goggles is going to hinder is the word. It's going to hinder your ability to, number one, see out of the corner of your eyes, which is exactly where all the passing angles are, right? That's Scottie's big gift. Peripheral vision is his biggest gift. The second thing, I don't think I've seen him do that in a really long time, where he tried to lob it over That was his second turnover. It was in the second half where he tried to send it over to Yak, and he overshot Yak by like 3 feet. And he's a pretty accurate passer, so you usually don't see Scottie doing stuff like that. So that was interesting. So just kind of just seeing his general touch and all that stuff. I think it's encouraging that he's willing to take that deep three, that he's been working on it. The work is showing. Will he ever hit 42% on high volume? I mean, he'd be Steph Curry if he did, right? So the best you can hope for is 35%, 36% on decent to good volume. And you're a very different team. You're a very different team with him out there. Now, let's talk about what didn't go so right for the Raptors, because let's not be that fan base that's like, oh, we won, everything was perfect, and we lost, everything was shit. No, there are many good things in losses, and there are many bad things in wins. One of the things that the Raptors desperately need to fix right now is basically their spacing. Their spacing was rough tonight. Okay, a lot of guys getting in each other's way, not a lot of space to navigate in the pick and roll. Guys just too bunched together. That was tough. I feel like generally speaking, the spacing complicated or overcomplicated pretty much everything tonight. And that made everything harder because it made everything easier for the defense, right? When you're bunched together, now Jaden McDaniels can guard 2 defenders. Now you can offer help. Now there's help in the driving lanes. How do you solve this problem? Well, for real, it's really difficult to solve a problem like this until you get better players. But I think the Raptors have had moments this year where they've looked a little bit smoother. And then I've seen some moments where they've looked really rough, right? The moments where they've looked smooth, where everything's kind of crisp, passes are crisp, it's generally not against a ton of ball pressure. It's usually against a weaker defensive team. When they have faced really strong defensive teams, I don't think Minnesota is a super strong defensive team, but like a team like Cleveland, it has generally gotten a little bit exposed because, again, it's a compounding issue. You don't have that super twitchy, quick guard that can break down a defense. That means you have to have more spacing for less dynamic ball handlers like RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Scottie Barnes to break down the defense. Those guys need wide angles. If you give Scottie one-on-one against Julius Randle, it's over. If you give Scottie one-on-one against Jaden McDaniels, he's going to bring him into the post and kill him. But Scottie going against Jaden McDaniels, plus Rudy Gobert behind him, plus Anthony Edwards in the paint, swiping down, and Dante DiVincenzo ready on the weak side corner, and then another defender trying to take away the passing lane. This is really congested, and you saw in the film breakdown just how geared in the defense got to him. To the question, there was a question that Aaron Rose asked. Shout outs to Aaron Rose. Talked to him a few times. He asked this specifically of Garrett Temple, where he said, now that Scottie's back, do Grady and RJ's touches go down? And Garrett kind of shot it down and just said, listen, like, I think their touches just get a lot easier. I'm paraphrasing. But this notion of anybody like, oh, who's going to get squeezed out? Nobody gets squeezed out with Scottie. That's the beautiful thing about it, man. He's going to be a guy who's going to set up teammates for easier shots. He's going to suck up so much of the defensive attention, and he's going to be willing to give it out. And the night that he doesn't, he's going to go off for 35 or 40 points. And that's going to be easy too, until the defense adjusts. Anyways, we got a caller here. Stefan. Is it Stefan or Steven? Stefan. Okay, Stefan, what's going on, man?
First of all, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Quick question for you. I mean, I have a few questions, but one of the questions I had for you was basically like, so I've listened to this, your lives for a few months now, and like it feels like you kind of have favorites on this team, like a few favorites on this team. And so my thing is, I feel like the favorites on the team, although they do get criticism from you, they don't get the criticism that the people who are not in your favorites list get, even though they may make similar mistakes. And sometimes they may make mistakes that are worse than the people that you don't really favor. So
who do you think I favor?
I mean, Mobo for sure. Scottie for sure, obviously. That's a no-brainer. I feel like Grady, you kind of give Grady like you handle him with care. You handle him with care. Like you don't. Grady will make a mistake, and like you'll understand. Like, I think you're more understanding of the fact that it's his second year in the league and that he's gonna make mistakes.
And
yeah,
the
I would
fact that
think
he's
I would think
20
it's
years
mainly
old for mostly every single game he's played this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I can sympathize with the fact that you kind of handle him with kid gloves at times because you understand that he's going to make those mistakes.
So who do I not handle with care? You don't have to be delicate. You can tell me who do I not? Maybe I'll learn something about myself.
I mean, Boucher,
Yes.
Davion, and like I will say, like although Davion does have a lot of.
Did you catch the earlier part where I said Davion was the best player off the bench today?
No, I didn't see that part.
Okay, you should.
I didn't see that part. But yeah, but so
good timing. Phew.
That's that's today. But I'm not here to cape for those guys. I just really want to like just be clear because like at the beginning of the year, you were talking about this team potentially being in the running for the play-in. But this is the same team that has been playing for the entire season, and
they're not the same team.
Sorry,
it's not the same team. So I mean that's a philosophical discussion to be had about what were the holes on this roster 3 months ago versus what are the holes with a little bit more information. 3 months ago, I felt that Ochai Agbaji was probably a bum based on what I saw from him last year, and I've never been happier to be proven wrong that he's a rotation player in the NBA. And I also believe that Grady was probably a couple years away from being a starting level contributor to the point where I really was against starting him because I didn't think he was ready. I'm kind of traumatized by the horror show that he had last year. It's not that I've ever lost faith in Grady at all. I've never lost faith in Grady, not for 1 second this entire year, last year, never. He can go through every struggle. I just know it's a longer process with Grady, and I know it's a longer process with Scottie. I guess it's what I see it this way, right? Like these guys are all grown men, right? They're 7 feet tall, 6'8", 6'9". So it's difficult to differentiate between a Chris Boucher, a Davion Mitchell, an RJ Barrett, a Scottie Barnes, a Grady Dick, because they all look like grown men to us, right? But I don't actually see them all like the same, you know? Like a player like Jamal Shed might be 23, 22, but he's a rookie. I understand that there's a massive adjustment curve that a player like him is going to have, but Davion's had 4 years. So if they make the same mistake, yeah, I'm going to be way harder on Davion for making that mistake. And I can acknowledge that Jamal's making the same mistake. He might be. I've actually said multiple times this year, I think Davion's been better than Jamal this year. He has been better than Jamal. But that doesn't mean that I believe in him more going forward. Make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But I do think that like development plays a huge part in how these guys end up producing on the court. You watch them play. And I don't know that the Sacramento Kings have a great development system. I don't know that Vivek Ranadive is their I mean, look, they've had so many draft picks.
Owner.
Yeah. I'm saying like he's so present in how the team operates. He's in every facet of what they do in terms of like he's in there making decisions for them at some points. You know, he has final say on coaching, on general managing. Like he makes it a point to be present in what they do more than just owning the team.
What are you basing that on? Are you partially basing that on the Stauskas clip that went viral?
No. I base it off of the fact that like there have been this fact, but there have been stories that have circulated that they have wanted, like when DeMarcus Cousins was there, he wanted certain players to get drafted, and Vivek was so taken by other people that he told them to take those people. I don't know, Papagiannis or whatever.
Right. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I get that, but people change, and Vivek has changed a lot. I've been a pretty loud critic of his for the last 10 years, but, you know, when people change, you have to change too. For sure. And, you know, he's given Pete D'Alessandro a lot more control, and Mike Brown absolutely runs their development. And Jordi Fernandez for the last few years has been brilliant with their development, as he's doing now with the Brooklyn Nets. Their culture has been awesome to the point that they don't develop players. Keegan Murray has been a massive development revelation. Keon Ellis has been a great development revelation. So I don't know if you came on here with like a particular bone to pick about Davion or Chris Boucher or just a general question. No. But my point is, like, I think Davion's had a lot of reps. So now I'm not selling him off completely, although I have been pretty outspoken in some of my claims that I don't think he's going to be an NBA player next year. But I think like basically it's based on what I'm seeing in the last 4 years. If he changes, I will change my tune. So if he plays 10 more games like he did tonight, I'll be off that real quick.
No, for sure. Listen, if you're on it, it doesn't change anything in my life. I'm just saying, like, if I were to push back on your comment about Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis, those guys have only been in that system for the past 2 years. So like there has
only been
other than
Keegan's only been in the league for the last year.
Keegan Murray was a rookie last year, no?
Nope.
Or was it the year before? Okay, so let's say 3 years, right?
But Davion was drafted 4 years ago. What's the difference?
Who was drafted 4 years ago?
Davion was drafted in 2021. Keegan was drafted in 2022. What's the difference? And Davion was 2023.
So okay, let me finish my point though. So for you're basing you're giving them kudos for their development for guys who've only been in the system for 3 years. Davion's been there for 4, true, but like I don't like we don't know the ins and outs of how they develop guys, because I honestly can tell you I never saw Davion Mitchell playmaking the way he's playmaking with Toronto in the 4 years that he's been in the league so far. I have never seen that. All I've seen him do is lock guys up and all I've seen him do is lock guys up and not space the floor. All of a sudden now he has the ball in his hands and he's making plays for people. I didn't even know he could do that. So
how many games have you watched? I mean, he's been doing this. He's been doing this pretty consistently.
Not at this level. Not at this level.
Bro, he did this at Baylor. What are we doing here? No, he did this at Baylor and in Sacramento. Of course, he's not going to do this.
We're talking about the Kings. We're not talking about Baylor. We're not talking about Baylor. We're talking about the Kings.
He's hold on. This playmaking is a function of role. Like, you understand that just because he's averaging more assists. Like, I'll admit he had a great game tonight. Can you acknowledge that he's been super turnover prone and really sloppy and really, really one-dimensional with some of his playmaking?
I can.
Okay, cool. So that's a reason why he wasn't playmaking before. It's also a big reason why Immanuel Quickley wasn't playmaking in New York. Now, Immanuel Quickley took a major playmaking jump last year. Is he a great playmaker? No, he's average. But that's why he wasn't playmaking over Jalen Brunson in New York. You know what I mean? Like, they'd rather run their offense through their more talented playmakers. That just makes sense. The Raptors are giving, I don't want to say unearned opportunity, because that sounds a little bit Nick Nurse, Fred VanVleet for me to say, but they're giving open opportunity because they have a lack of talent. So they're willing to experiment, and they have a lot of injuries. So they're willing to experiment with Davion running 20% usage, Jakob Poeltl running 21% usage, RJ Barrett running 30% usage, whereas a better team would never do that because they're better teams for a reason. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't really see this massive progression from Davion that you're talking about, but that's cool. Like, I watched a lot of him in Sacramento. I won't say a lot. I watched about 40 games of him in Sacramento. I've seen plenty of positive playmaking from him. Yeah. He's gone. Okay. I think he may have gotten cut off. Okay. We got Stagger. Stagger, what's up?
Hey there. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I had a question for you about where the final lineup tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed to me that Agbaji, bringing him in, would have given them a massive amount of length and clogged up the lanes a lot more, and given them additional 3-point shooting from the corner. When I saw that, when I interchanged him into the lineup, I thought it was kind of didn't really look like we needed a
traditional point guard.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, okay, so I think it was a little clunky to start, if I'm being honest. And Ochai didn't have a great game, and Davion ended up having a really good game. So it almost feels like, why do we have to do this? I think it's important for Scottie to get those reps, because at some point he and RJ are going to have to handle possessions. It's a little uncommon for teams to run their offense through a traditional point guard engine like a Mike Conley or a Tyus Jones. Like, they do it, but you'll often see Devin Booker bringing up the ball, or Luka Doncic bringing up the ball, or James Harden bringing up the ball. This is the modern NBA, right? So Scottie is always going to have the green light to initiate. RJ is going to have the green light to initiate. And I think the best thing is that when you have 4 or 5 players who can initiate the offense off the rebound, then anyone grabs and anyone goes. Jakob Poeltl brought it up once tonight, which was really cool to watch too. So I just think like it's good. I agree with you generally that Ochai is a vast improvement over Davion in most cases. And playing bigger against a huge team is really to your advantage. The Minnesota Timberwolves are really big. If the Raptors had started Davion Mitchell, they would have been super small.
Yeah, they looked. I was a little shocked when I saw the starting lineup, and then when I saw them out there, I was like, "This looks interesting." There's so much length and so much height, and Scottie seemed, as opposed to what I'd seen him previously running the team, he seemed more comfortable tonight, bringing the ball up at the beginning of the game, and running the team. I was just, it seemed like, and I hate to say this, but it seemed like that old Masai idea of 6'7" all over the place.
Vision 6'9".
Right. It almost looked like this is Vision 6'9", except with an actual true 7-footer in the middle. That's what it looked like to me with the lineup. That's the thing that was shocking to me. And with the development of Grady and the development of Ochai, I was just like, wow, this looks like it could go somewhere. That's what I was. And then when I started thinking about the amount of money we got in quickly, we got Mitchell, I was thinking, man, I don't know if this, Vision 6'9" with an actual 7-footer takes off, how much do you actually need a point guard moving forward? Because maybe, you've got a guy that's got a bad night or not. But if that group all of a sudden started to click, and you may have a guy here or there that's got a bad night, but is that your future starting rotation? And maybe you have Mitchell coming off the bench if somebody's having a bad night.
I don't think Immanuel Quickley's, in light of the recent, I think he's going to be way better than people think this year. I think Immanuel's going to be great, and he's also really long, so that helps. But I think even with Immanuel back, I think the delicate balance is going to be the Raptors understanding who's going to run the offense. Now, there's an old school mentality of having some predictability on that. Whose ball is it? Because we can all, I don't know. Did you play basketball at some point in your life?
Not much. I've become a huge fan after sitting courtside at a couple of Raptors games. I got incredibly lucky, and I was a big hockey fan and played just about every other sport. And it wasn't until I sat courtside at a Raptors game and went, "Oh my God," at the size of the men and how quickly things were humming. And then I got hooked onto the strategy of the game. I've always been a big strategy guy in about any team sport. And that's what hooked me into the Raptors probably 6-7 years ago, maybe even longer, probably 10 years ago. And it's been a learning process ever since, but there's been some, obviously there's been a lot of changes in the league strategy wise over the last 10, 15 years. And it just feels like having a traditional point guard with a traditional center, when you've got people when you've got a group of guys like we just saw with the Minnesota Timberwolves and how quickly they've come up through the ranks in the last couple of years, it just seemed like that opening lineup that I was watching tonight was something that if they gelled and if those guys actually came to fruition, that's a crazy hard opening lineup, especially on defensive side of the ball. And you've got a lot of shooters in there that have developed over the last 12 months as well.
I think the thing that makes it work a little bit is that Ochai can actually guard guards, right? But right now, if you face a lineup with two twitchy, like a super twitchy backcourt, like tonight, I don't really think Nickeil Alexander-Walker presents that type of threat. But if you had faced a Tyrese Halliburton plus, Benedict Mathurin, like those are two guys who are a little bit more twitchy than Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Or even if you faced a Scoot Henderson and a Shaedon Sharpe backcourt over in Portland, which is one of the worst teams in the league, or even if you faced a Bub Carrington and a Jordan Poole, which can, again, there's a lot of teams that can put this type of pressure on you. I think it will create breakdowns for your defense. And also, one of the biggest things about Ochai that makes him so versatile and so cool is that he can play roamer. You know, he can be down in the paint. We saw the big block the other day on a player who was much bigger than him, Pascal Siakam. So I don't want to stick him on one, but Ochai is a positive defensively. But I think if Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett can get a little bit better defensively, I think it'll help. But there's no world in which any player on this team has nearly the shooting gravity as Grady and IQ. Like those two guys, right? So I think the Raptors' philosophy on this, even though it makes them a little bit smaller, is to have a lineup which features two really good shooters at all times. So that can be IQ plus Grady in the starting lineup, and then maybe someday it can be Jacoby and Jameson Battle off the bench. And then to have one or both of Scottie and RJ on, you know, the two wings, and then just creating constant havoc downhill, popping up, popping to the corner. And then you have this one decision maker, roller, cleanup guy in the middle in Jakob Poeltl. At least temporarily, that's how I see it. Naturally, at some point, I would love to see Scottie as a point guard on this team with a proper stretch big. I think it could be really cool. But right now, it feels like Scottie doesn't nearly have as dynamic a handle as he needs, and nor does RJ. Neither of them have nearly as dynamic a handle to handle quite like the level of pressure. But I'm seeing progress from both on that front, so it's been good.
Yeah, you're right. There's if they had some really pesky guards,
like if they were going up against a Davion Mitchell, that would be tough, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to have something to counter that. But it was just a really intriguing lineup tonight. When I saw the opening line, I was concerned, and then when I watched the play, I was like, "Holy crap!"
Well, I mean, you remember that Scottie started at point for the only two games the Raptors have won in the playoffs in many years, right? So it's worth noting that like you've had some marginal success with this lineup. It's just for the most part, this lineup has only ever been, and it's very feast or famine. So like either Scottie running at point looks like the best thing in the world. The Raptors saw that. If you remember in Fred VanVleet's last year here, there was a back-to-back game against Atlanta and San Antonio where Scottie started at point in place of Fred. And the offense looked like the best offense you've ever seen. And you were like, oh my God, we really have found something here. But then you have other games at point where nothing gets organized. Everything's stagnant. He struggles to break down the first layer of the defense. And now we're like, okay, now where do we go? Where maybe a guy like Davion can just do a little bit more sometimes off the bounce. But the problem is he doesn't really do anything of real consequence better than Scottie other than pressure the basketball. Offensively, Scottie's a better downhill attacker. He's a better shooter. He's a better playmaker. He's a better passer. He's a better court mapper. He's a better screener. He's literally better at everything on the offensive end. So I understand, and I'm really glad that Darko went with this lineup, if nothing else, to just play with it. And for the rest of the year, I think Scottie will get a lot of reps handling the basketball with the second unit.
Right.
Yeah.
It was funny that it did seem to me at times in the offense, like Davion Mitchell, the ball was sticking with him a little too much. He was dribbling quite a bit and just kind of hanging out, and then eventually 10 to 15 seconds into the shot clock, starting to move the ball. At least that's what it looked like to me tonight. And I was kind of I was wondering, like, is that because he's in a land of giants and his inability to see around people and get the ball moving? Because when Scottie had it or RJ had it, same thing didn't happen. It didn't stick too much with them tonight.
Yeah, I think it stuck a little bit with both, but I think there was a good plan of action, and there's a good reason it stuck at times, because they make you uncomfortable. Like this team, the ball pressure that they apply, Anthony Edwards, really, really good, active, pesky, sometimes undisciplined, but generally speaking, very agile defender. And it's not going to be easy to beat him off the dribble. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, I don't know how much you know about the Minnesota Timberwolves in general, but like Nikhil Alexander-Walker is a really good perimeter defender. And Jaden McDaniels is like, I mean, these guys, they really shut down the Denver Nuggets last year. It was truly like people were talking about it as like the best defense they've ever seen in their lives. Like this is the best defense in 50 years, kind of stuff. And most of the ingredients for that defense are still there. And the one that's gone is Karl-Anthony Towns, and he's probably the biggest defensive liability in New York right now. So in a lot of ways, the ingredients are there for a dominant defense. And one quarter here, one half here, you do see the ingredients of it, and you're like, oh wow, like when they really lock in, they're a very scary team to go up against when they're pressuring and they're connected. Right now, I think they're still trying to adjust some of their newer pieces. Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, neither are great defenders. Tonight, I think the Raptors did a really smart thing. They made a big mistake trying to guard RJ Barrett with Dante DiVincenzo. I think that is first of all, they know each other very well, right? They've played together. And I think it's just a really stupid, it's a really just terrible matchup. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if they thought, oh, they'll never go to it. No. But that's the beautiful thing about the Raptors. They'll always go to it. They'll always go to the matchup. So if they're going to guard RJ Barrett with Dante DiVincenzo and they're not going to offer help on the drive, yeah, we'll live with 31 easy points for RJ Barrett happily, you know? And that's the beautiful thing about Scottie. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Yak. And that's the beautiful thing about this team really is that they've bought into these principles of find the best shot, you know? And sometimes, a lot of times, the best shot is just going to be Chris Boucher, you know, in the corner or, you know, Davion Mitchell at the top. But once those pieces get replaced or upgraded with really high-end competent pieces like Kelly Olynyk, a more mature version of Jakob Poeltl in a few years, maybe your 2025 draft pick, now what do? There's no Davion to cheat off of. There's no Chris Boucher to cheat off of. There's no Bruno Fernando. Now what do? Now you can't stop it. Now you have to commit single coverage, and now RJ or Scottie or Emmanuel quickly are going to bury you. So yeah, I love watching really good teams play basketball. And one of the things I notice with a lot of good teams is it's not always predictable what they're about to do. Anyways, I really love that you called in, Stagger. I really appreciate it. It was a really great call. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, man, just keep doing what you're doing. I watch as much as I can about what you're doing, and it's an incredible education as well. So really appreciate it.
I appreciate you very much. Call in anytime. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Coach Mo, what up?
Feeling good, man.
That deep breath had me kind of shook there. I was like, oh, Coach Mo's not happy.
No, man. Listen. We're on a 2-game win streak. The Sixers are on a 5-game losing streak. You know, I'm happy, dog.
Okay.
I'm happy.
Yo, there's no raining on the Raptors parade, but we can definitely rain on the Sixers parade in a second. Yeah.
How many more losses until Nick Nurse brings up that championship?
Did you catch the panel today?
No, but I saw what the show was about. It was about the Sixers. And is it like is it panic time in Philly or something like that? Basically, yeah. I just want to say, how many more games before Nick Nurse has to put on that championship ring, aka Dwayne Casey? Post-game championship ring.
It's getting close.
It's getting close, huh?
It's getting bad, bro. Yeah, it's getting bad. I'm gonna share a little bit of this. I think PC will be okay with me sharing a little bit of it as long as I give them proper credit for it. But hang on one second. I'm gonna share a little bit of this. Luckily, I timestamped it myself, so give me 1 sec. But yeah, what'd you think of the game tonight?
I think the biggest thing Scottie did was you saw, the play that sealed the game. The play of the game was Grady to RJ alley-oop.
Yeah.
They didn't have that much energy in the other games at the end because they just carried the team to that point. I feel like Scottie gave those guys energy and they were able to pace themselves so they weren't running on empty at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, they could close out the games with Scottie. And I think you said it best. Scottie came in at like the 6-minute mark and it was like pass to Boucher, open 3 in the corner, right? Mid-range shot. It's like we just got quality looks. We didn't look like we were fighting for our life. Like I just felt like, yeah, we can win this game. Before I was like, I don't even know how we're going to score. I genuinely don't know how we're going to consistently generate quality looks.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to bring Lil Jon on too, if you don't mind. Just going to have like a little powwow. Oh no, crap. There is you're right. There is so to the person who called it out. Yes, there is a typo in the when I was adjusting the title. The live got lived, I guess. So I'm gonna have to adjust it afterwards. Let me bring on Lil Jon, and then I'm going to bring on the panel and just take a look at what I said because I was on one today. Hang on.
You were on it today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're 30th in offensive rating. You're at the
Here?
bottom of the league in 3-point
You're a middle of the pack
You're
defense. You're 30th in offensive rating.
Yep.
You're 29th
Here,
in
right?
points. I think 30th or 29th in assists.
sir.
I don't feel the offense has made a hell of a lot of sense this year.
Absolutely.
And I feel that all of this conversation about Joel Embiid shoving reporters, Joel Embiid, now he's late. I'm gonna guarantee you the relationship between Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, that quote has been blown way out of proportion.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. It has been blown way out of proportion. It's probably just Tyrese Maxey being like, hey, and you can't be late for stuff. Probably like 800 words, and you can't be late for everything. And that's the part we're honing in on. Joel Embiid is late for everything. Does anyone here actually believe Joel Embiid is late for everything?
Yes.
No,
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
every plane,
every
You can't see that. That's the thing. There's a difference between every time pin and everything.
Okay. It doesn't have to be.
Those two things are not the same.
I'm not coming here to defend Joel Embiid. I'm not coming here to defend Joel Embiid. I'm coming here to bury Nick Nurse. Let's get the agenda clear.
Okay. I can deal with that, Pin.
I'm gonna say this: the last time Nick Nurse coached a team that wasn't the Philadelphia 76ers, it was my Toronto Raptors.
Here we go.
The most dysfunctional locker room I have ever seen in my life. There were coaches mid-season asking other teams if they had jobs because they knew none of them were keeping their jobs. That's a fact. Okay. There was reporters I know that went into the locker room and said it's the quietest locker room they've ever seen. There was leak after leak after leak as the team underperformed before trading for Jakob Poeltl. It was a constant issue to keep anything in-house with that team. There was numerous reports about Scottie Barnes having sudden work ethic issues. There were reports about Scottie Barnes being an unserious teammate because he became a very convenient scapegoat. Now, I want to be clear. I don't think Joel Embiid has been well. He has not played well. I don't like his quotes. I don't like a lot of the stuff that he's been doing. I don't like the fact that he played for Team USA and now he's talking about not playing back-to-backs. I get all of that. I do 100%. I'm with you. I don't need any extra gasoline to flame Joel Embiid. Okay. I've had a lot of issues with him over the years. But to make it seem like this is all him and everybody else just gets to walk away and he's not playing. How the hell is it his fault? Okay. I proceeded to go on and on. If y'all want to check out the panel, it was a really dope episode today. It's timestamped in the comments. I added the timestamp so you can go and browse. I will personally suggest that you check out the Nick Nurse section, the Sixers section, because I literally thoroughly cooked through that entire live. And then there was the part about analytics and Swiper, which was hilarious. And I thought that was really funny. Anyways, Lil Jon, how you doing?
How you doing, man?
Good. I'm great.
Yeah. How you guys doing? I think you made a great point about why Dante was guarding RJ. I think the Timberwolves, the first matchup they guarded Scottie with Randall, and I think that since there was no guards, they were like, all right, we're going to put McDaniels on him and pressure his handle. And that was probably the worst decision that Coach Finch could have done because now Randall can't guard RJ. And it would have just made way more sense if you put Randall on Scottie and McDaniels on RJ. And of course, they didn't do that. And RJ had a terrific game.
Absolutely. And efficient. 10 for 14. I thought
really
it was
efficient.
Yeah. I mean, keep doing it. Not a lot of playing around with the basketball. Not a ton of, like playing, one-on-one and trying to, like find things and survey things, like really quick decisions. It was good. And yeah.
I mean, normally if Scottie wasn't playing, McDaniels would be on RJ and McDaniels will wear him out.
Yeah.
He would wear RJ out. RJ would have had a significantly worse game. If his primary objective was to score on McDaniels, we know length and elite defense bother RJ.
Yes, they do. And he had a couple of like really questionable plays today. But I think that it's really good that RJ or Scottie or Immanuel Quickley can kind of lead an offense. And again, I liken it to something that I saw I watched very intently the other day as the Cavaliers took on the Celtics. Did you watch that game?
The Cavs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that game, do you see Al Horford bringing the ball up? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Drew Holiday bringing the ball up? Yep. Saw Derek White bringing the ball up, Jason Tatum bringing the ball up, Jaylen Brown bringing the ball up. And you're like, damn, that's 5. Today on the panel, we had this very lively discussion, which was a really insightful one on the 1 second difference between transition offense and early offense.
Mm-hmm.
So like what happens when you commit a turnover, live ball in the half court, right? Or, in the backcourt, sorry. Or what happens when long shot, long rebound, you don't have proper floor balance, which the Raptors saw today in that leak out dunk by Jaden McDaniels. That versus putting it out of bounds and then setting up your defense, and the other team has to take it out of bounds and then lose that second. Or losing the second because the guy who brings it down, which is Neemias Keita or Jakob Poeltl or Bruno Fernando, has to go and then find a point guard, right? Every pass that you have to go and try to the thing that burns me out the most is guys when they grab the ball out of bounds, they're like super slow about it. They kind of like trod their feet and then they go out of bounds and then they kind of just like roll it in or they just kind of lob it in. You've seen Scottie when he's really active. He jumps out of bounds and throws it. He sprints up the court. That's pressure. People tend to make more mistakes when they're rushed. That's why you have 2.5 hours for an exam and not 12 seconds for an exam, right? So basically the concept here is the Raptors need to play fast. They need to play fast. But the problem is they don't play fast enough because they have these 2 players that crawl the pace and it hurts everybody. Grady will benefit from faster offense. Immanuel Quickley will benefit from faster offense. Scottie, RJ, Ochai, literally your entire roster will benefit from faster offense. The only person who doesn't benefit from it is Davion and Jakob.
Grady needs to get a lot stronger with the ball. I don't know if you mentioned this, but
4 turnovers.
I think I've seen the ball poked out of his hands like 20 times this year. He needs to get a lot stronger with the ball. I'm encouraged and I'm happy that they're giving him on ball reps and he's pushing it in transition and doing all that good stuff. But he needs to be way stronger with the ball because like all the turnovers look the exact same. It's just like rip and then out of his hands.
I get it. Yeah, I feel that.
I also think sometimes he's attacking when he shouldn't. Like he feels like he has an advantage when he doesn't, or he gets himself in trouble, right?
Right.
Like he already committed in the air and he realizes, this was a bad idea, right? Mid-air and it's too late. But yeah, I agree, Rob, with the play faster. But in order to play fast, the quote unquote point guard, whether that would be Fred VanVleet, whether that would be Dennis Schroeder, whether that would be Davion Mitchell, they cannot have it in their head, I bring the ball up the court. If that's their mentality, and they're like, I need to bring the ball up the court 90% of the time, you can't play fast.
The good thing, Quickley doesn't do that. Quickley knows.
No, Quickley doesn't. But
yeah,
Quickley,
he doesn't do that.
Yeah, he doesn't do that.
Quickley,
but those other 3 I mentioned, I'd lose my mind. They basically rip the ball out of your hands. If you've ever played basketball and you're not pressured and you can just bring the ball up the court and the guy comes to you and he's like, give me the ball, it's annoying. It's actually annoying.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think they're gonna have to kind of learn to play with each other, which is sort of the downside, right? Everyone's talking about the tank. Everyone's talking about, Scottie's not playing. It's really helping the tank, etc. At some point, I'm pretty sure this team is going to make a pretty serious, very legit play-in run. At which point, it's really going to help that these reps that Scottie and RJ and Immanuel Quickley have together. Like it takes a while to get used to playing with each other, right? Like you get in each other's way, you have awkward moments, you need to understand sort of like where guys want the ball. So, I really like that RJ and Scottie have really seemed to have a pretty good relationship going back. But last year, I'm really happy that when Scottie got hurt, he and Immanuel Quickley really built up their relationship. And what I really like about this team and I really liked it all the way going back to the summer, is just how connected they are. They're super connected. Win, lose, there's no, like, this might be the second or third most connected team I've ever seen in Raptors history. They just feel so on the same page. They're happy for each other. You see the bench, they're so up. Y'all remember 2022, me breaking down lives and zoning in on the bench and just everyone kind of looking like, get me the fuck out of here. So it's a refreshing thing. It feels really, truly joyous to win a game like this. I understand, given what Ace Bailey did last night, that this might be like a sour note to some people, but I keep telling those people, unless you shut Scottie down, there ain't no way you're losing these games. Some of these games.
We're playing by default. That's how bad the team is going to have to go out of their way to avoid the play-in. The East is that bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost playing by default at this point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The race to the bottom is I mean, these teams have
well, the Bucks started rolling. The Bucks started rolling a little bit. I mean, they're rolling over manure, but they're still rolling.
It's very bad teams, though. Very bad teams.
As I said, rolling over manure, but yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the post game if you guys want to stick around. But in case you're not sticking around, any final thoughts for either of you?
I would like to say I've been very low on RJ, but
yes,
I have to keep a spade a spade. The scoring that he's providing, and on particular nights, how efficient he is. Like, this is going to be very hard to replace, because I've already imagined other players in his position, and a lot of those players aren't scorers. Like, I've been imagined Cam Johnson in his position, but the stuff that he's doing in transition and getting to the basket and free to line over and over, like, this is something that's going to be hard to replace. It's just, I just have to be honest. Like,
it is a valuable skill. It is a valuable skill. Being able to pressure the rim the way that he does, being able to sort of snake dribble into the paint, manipulate the defense a little bit, put a defender on your back, bump a defender, take the contact, and still go in. Yeah, man, there's like some actual stars that's like 80% of their game.
Yeah, he keeps the offense alive, and like he's just like every possession there's possessions that he's just eating up over and over. Like there's a lot of guys that can't do that, and I have to give him credit for that.
For sure. And I mean, again, number one recruit in the country, Gatorade National Player of the Year, Grady Dick, Gatorade National Player of the Year. I like to remind people that there's some real legit fucking talent on this team. And it feels like because of how our media specifically covers this team, you would think that they basically have like chopped liver on this team. Like everybody's just a fucking bum. Like Jakob Poeltl wasn't picked over Domantas Sabonis by one of the best talent evaluators in the league. Like RJ Barrett wasn't picked over like a lot of really good players in that draft and was initially slated to go over John Morant and Zion Williamson at some point. That means at 18, someone saw Zion and said, this guy's better. So that guy's supposed to be chopped liver. He's definitely not chopped liver, and Gatorade National Player of the Year means a lot for sure. I mean, it doesn't always translate to a great pro career, but there's extenuating circumstances. Sometimes guys get too high, but I think with Grady and RJ and Scottie and IQ, there's a lot of talent on this team, a lot of talent. And then the fact that the talent is clicking and playing well together. Yeah. I'm not projecting a 50-win team for Christ's sake, but I could definitely see like 36, 37 wins, even after how they've started for sure. Yeah. Coach Mo, any final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I like RJ, but watching him versus Scottie, the main difference is when I watch RJ, I catch myself saying, man, that's bad defense. When RJ scores, there's a lot of times where I say, man, that's bad defense. The difference between a real star is you look at him score and you say, he just made a tough shot. Can't stop that. Great shot. RJ, it's like, you could stop that, but you have to play with effort. You can't let him get to the basket. You gave him his strong hand. You gave him an angle. You didn't rotate properly. When Kawhi Leonard scores, when we were winning our championship, there's nothing you can do with that.
No, that's fair. I do see that. Like when Scottie scores, he goes through people. Yeah, and when RJ scores, he goes around people, and it's kind of like, all right, he kind of gets a cheap basket.
It can be stopped.
Yo, Bueno Kitty with probably the most amazing chat. Read this. RJ raises the score, Scottie raises the floor. Happy to have them both. Yo, that's the best way I've heard this laid out. Kudos to you, Bueno Kitty, and your fourth quarter gang affiliation has gone from I've never been a part of an official street gang, but like whatever the hell, top boss is on the street gang, you get my vote for promotion on that one. That's a good one. I like that. RJ keeps he keeps piling on the score. He adds those 2 points, 2 points, 4 points, whatever. But when you need when everything's tightened up and everything's gone, and you need something to really just, you need strength, physicality, size. You need someone who can score over like really great defenders.
Yeah.
Right. And you need someone who can dissect great defenders. See, again, I think the best way to articulate it is this. If you slice together the 50th best play of RJ's year and the 50th best player of Scottie's year, they'll be like very similar.
Yep.
Ish. But if you take the top 10, you'll see the gap, a big gap. There'll be a gap in like where Scottie took off or how he finished or who he finished over. I remember a play from Scottie's rookie year where he crossed the entire court in 3 dribbles against Orlando. And you think to yourself, when this guy is really going and feeling right, like, how do you stop that? Like, how do you stop that? Like that to me, I try to think of it from a defensive coach perspective. How would I try to stop a Scottie Barnes? Well, I guess I would try to put Scottie Barnes on him. I would love to have a defender that size with that length and that maturity and mentality and IQ to stop him. Barring that, and put a Herb Jones or an OG Anunoby and send help when he inevitably takes that defender into a place where that defender can't guard him. And again, the dribble's still a little bit high right now. The shot's still a little bit shaky. But when those things go away, he presents more advantages than Kawhi Leonard, not less. More, way more. Because with Kawhi, you can sort of shut him down with the strong double team. Not shut him down with a small double team, as we saw with the Sixers series, but you can limit his effectiveness. You can take him from like 63%, 64% true shooting to like 51%. I don't think you can do that with Scottie because he just finds the open man.
I agree. Opportunistic scorers can't score in crunch time because the defense doesn't give opportunities anymore.
Mm-hmm. John Hamilton saying posterized Vucevic and Sabonis as a rookie. Bro, he took Alex Caruso off the bounce and then put Vooch on a freaking poster. Alex Caruso is not easy to move. Alex Caruso may look like Elmer Fudd to you, but that dude is very strong. He guards power forwards on the regular.
Scottie
I wanted to give Darko a shout out tonight. I thought he was really good with the rotations. Also, less Jamal Shed. I love him, but
we all love him.
He's just fouling. He's just fouling people out there, and the offense
and turning it over
really bad. It looks really bad in his hands. He needs the 905 badly.
Do you like final question before I go to the postgame? And again, you guys are free to stick around. I'll keep you in the studio. I just want to go to the postgame because I have a feeling some people are going to want to get out of here before midnight, and I want to just make sure that we can hear from Scottie and RJ and all that stuff. But anyways, like actually I'm just gonna go towards the postgame, and if you guys want to stick around, you wanna hang around, watch it, and come back on, happy to have you on. If anyone else wants to call on, we can have a powwow, man. The Raptors don't beat good teams that often. Last I checked, prior to the Indiana game, we'd lost 7 straight and we were the worst team in the league. Now we're flying high and it feels good. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna put y'all in the back, and then you can stay if you want to stay. Cool.
All
right. Cool. Okay. Hopefully we will see if they come back. I think Coach Mo is gone. And let's get to the media.
Scottie back.
Scottie Barnes. Man, that was fun. I think specifically for me personally, I think you kind of see when we're down, I don't know if we're down 5, when Scottie came back in, and then just him being in the game, the energy that he brought, Chris also, and then, Davion came in off the bench and, applied some pressure on Anthony Edwards there when he had it rolling. So I just think everybody, all together, like, played great. But, I mean, having Scottie in the lineup for us is just, he's a special player.
How does having Scottie back change the spacing on the floor for you?
Made it easier, for sure. I was just kind of out there chilling, just waiting around, trying to, find where I could make a play. But Scottie just, like I said, he's a very special player. And when you have a guy like that out there, it makes everybody's job easier.
You had the ball in your hands a lot in what was basically a no point guard offense. Do you like that style of basketball?
I'm a basketball player, man. So, I like good basketball.
You think that's good basketball for you?
Yeah, we play great basketball.
Looked like you were shaking your head in disbelief at something on the box score when you first sat down. What was that?
Oh, I had 4 turnovers. It was disgusting.
Darko was saying that what he saw from you when Scottie was out as sort of a ball handler allowed him to feel confident going with that no point guard lineup. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you that he's got enough faith in you to go with that and to start the game?
It means a lot. I think I was able to show a little bit what I can do during this last stretch with the guys out. So now when everybody comes back, it's another tool that we have in our it's another tool we have in our arsenal, and I'm ready whenever team needs me.
RJ, as a team, fouls have been an issue all season. Been a bit better the last few games, and even tonight, like it was an issue in the first half, less so in the second half, where I think you guys got to the line more. What's the difference between when you guys are fouling a lot and when you're not in terms of the defense? Is there something that you're doing better defensively when the whistle isn't blowing?
We're getting better. Some young guys are learning, and just us as a team, figuring out how the game's being called, figuring out when to be aggressive, when to pull your hands back, just stuff like that. So I think we did a pretty good job, especially after that first quarter tonight.
After having a stretch of very close losses, how does it feel to kind of be on the other side and close out games now down the stretch?
Well, that's what's going to happen. You have those losses, you know the feeling, you remember it, and now when we're in those close games, we're not worried or panicked or anything. Like, we're starting to figure out what to go to and what little things we got to do to win.
What is that, the little things that maybe you guys learned from those losses that you're not taking to the side?
I think some things like Grady getting some big rebounds or Grady getting a big steal, like, things like that, just everybody being locked in on the defensive end, and rebounding has been tough for us, but I think tonight, especially when it mattered, we were able to do that.
You guys connected on a few lobs. You guys practice that?
No, whenever he has the ball and I see that I'm open, I just yell Grady the whole time down the court. And at first, he's not looking, so I don't know if he's gonna pass it or not, but I realized he can hear me, so just keep running and he'll throw it. So yeah.
What was it like playing on that court with that jersey on?
Oh man, this is dope. This is cool. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like the court too, and just happy we're able to get a win.
You guys, obviously, a lot of talk about rebuilding, development this year, but you guys let yourself kind of just think about what you're capable of in an Eastern Conference that feels kind of open?
Try to win basketball games. I think that's always the goal. Rebuilding or not, you go out there, you give your best effort, and you try to win, you try to get better every single night, and that's what we're doing.
Oui, j'ai une question en français. Comment est-ce que le retour de Scottie a affecté ton jeu aujourd'hui? On a vu que tu as fait un excellent match avec 31 points et une victoire. Comment le retour de Scottie a affecté ton jeu aujourd'hui?
C'était plus facile pour moi et on a gagné le match, alors on est content.
Parle-nous de l'impact de Chris Boucher qui vient du banc et qui fait un match extraordinaire. Quel est l'impact qu'il fait sur l'équipe?
Montréal, mais toujours Chris. Toujours, il vient avec juste une passion qui est bon pour nous. Et oui, on adore quand on a Chris sur le court.
Be able to play basketball.
It was great, man. We got to win first game back.
Scottie!
That fourth quarter, so now you guys hadn't had good finishes very often this year. Tonight you did. How did you feel you contributed to that?
We felt like we had that extra push. It's a slow game. Both teams wasn't really scoring a lot. That's really had to cut off on the rebounds, and Anthony Edwards was getting hot a little bit. Made a little bit of changes in Devion. He did a great job finishing off. Just trying to limit him from getting those shots, and then coming together as a team defense collectively just try to make it hard for them, and I feel like we did that without fouling. So, RJ did a great job down the stretch as well, getting to the basket, making his free throws. We closed out the game, got away.
How did the glasses feel? Was it as much of an adjustment as you thought it would be?
There's a slight difference on the thing, on what I see, but, I made it work. Got to do what I got to do.
Do you know how long you'll have to wear them for?
No. Not at all.
His face says it all. There were actually a couple plays tonight where he took the glasses off on the free throw line, and he hates those glasses so much. I can tell you 100% confirmed that he hates those glasses. You don't want to wear them because it's uncomfortable. Whenever you're adjusting to something new, it's uncomfortable. Right now, his eye is very inflamed, and he just forgot to put them back on. It was just on his head. I don't know he hates them.
Talking about playing with basically a no point guard offense. You like that?
We got a lot of guys that can ball handle, do a lot of.
Okay, so I hate Doug Smith with a lively passion, like to the point where, I mean, for real, if Doug Smith and I ever meet, that's going to be fireworks. We've met before. It wasn't fireworks last time. It'll be fireworks next time because of all the shit that I've heard. Scottie calls himself a point guard. Scottie played point guard not in high school only, in Division I. He played point guard at Florida State. Scottie is more than capable to play point guard in the NBA. It just may not be the most optimal thing. So kind of insulting if you ask me to say, oh, what if you like not playing with a point guard? Bro, it's the best passer on your team. What are we doing here?
Different things out there on the floor. As long as we play our offense and do the right things, I feel like everything is going to go great. Get the ball over half court pretty fast, just try to run, and then get into what we usually run, our core sets. And then basically just play from there. Set good screens, roll, pass the ball. One got things, go into a ball screen, hey, y'all play off of it, do it.
You two, though, getting the ball over half court?
Yeah, playing fast. We're playing to our strength every time we play fast. We got a lot of guys that can run.
I got to hear that one again.
Do it.
You two, though, getting the ball over half court?
Yeah, playing fast. We're playing to our strength every time we play fast. We got a lot of guys that can run, so we got to run, get the ball out. We've been made emphasis on that since the beginning of the season, and we just got to stick to that.
Scottie, it's your first game back, of course, but what improvements have you noticed from your teammates playing alongside them?
I already said these guys play hard. They've been playing really hard, locking into the game plan. So we're just doing the right things each and every single day. And out there, we put in a hard effort. We work together collectively to try to get this done. Our bench did great. Chris, Davion, Jamal, great minutes. John off the bench. They helped us a lot today. We need it every single night. And, we're a whole team. We're going to all need each other to win.
RJ had the ball in his hands a lot when you were out. You could kind of see that progression in his playmaking. Obviously, the assist numbers reflect that as well. I know it's just one game, but could you feel that difference being out there with him tonight, just in terms of his improvement on that side of the?
Before I got hurt, we played that one game with each other. RJ, he's unbelievable. You get to the rim, is great catch and shoot, get to the ball downhill. He's great defensively. Be able to rebound, run. We complement each other so well. We notice that, and we try to help each other out when we're out there on the floor as much as possible.
You mentioned the offense pushing the pace. You guys wanted to get out and run. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't think of Jakob when they think of like a center that's part of a run and gun offense, but how important is he to keeping the flow going?
Yak is amazing. Just how his IQ out there on the basketball floor, being able to read the floor. He's a huge part of our offense. Pick and roll, that little floater, super nice. Even if they bite on the floor, he can rip over the top, try to get a layup. Pass them in our offense, and he's looking for back doors, bringing it to the second side. He just knows how to play the game the right way. He's huge for us.
You mentioned the bench being big tonight. What do you think about Chris specifically, 22 points on the bench?
Chris gonna bring it every single day. He tries to come with energy, and then making some plays off the dribble, getting downhill, getting some dunks, making some threes wide open. He was just doing those things. He helped us a lot. He kept us in the game.
How'd your timing feel after missing a bunch of games? Does it come back right away? Does it take some time?
Actually, I felt great out there today. Sometimes I get tired, but today, I didn't really get tired. felt in great shape. Thanks to the training staff and the work that they put in, just trying to get me back in place to be able to play. So, I felt great tonight.
2 wins at home. How can you focus to take this success on the road?
Like I said, we're going to need everybody. Everybody continue to show up and, be ourselves. Play together collectively, focus on defense. We got to rebound. That's what it really comes down to. How can we get a stop and get rebounds at the end of possession so we can go on the other end and do what we do, run in transition, score easy points, run our offense. So, just that defensive part, getting those stops and rebounding. That's a big focus that, we're trying to get better on. How can we get a defensive rebound so we can just start our offense, get that going?
Must have felt pretty good to have Scottie back and on the court in the fourth quarter of a close game. He seemed to get you settled down.
I mean, Scottie is a high IQ player with a lot of skill, and he just knows how to handle those situations. He's been before in those situations. Great communication with teammates, getting us organized, how to inbound the ball, what to do, what spacing needs to be. All of that is great when we have timeouts or we watch the film next day, but having a player on the court that's going to be general on the floor and do all of that for us, it's very valuable. So really happy for him and him coming back and helping us tonight.
How much optionality, versatility does he give you defensively that you don't have without him?
I mean, his size, he can guard 5s, he can guard 4s, he can switch on the point guards, he can do so many things there. And it's not just like coverage, it's just like intensity that he brings to the team. And as I said, like his active defense, active hands, rebounding the ball, all of those things are huge for us.
What did you like about Davion off the bench?
I think he pretty much changed the game. He came off the bench and he was plus 20 tonight. I think he guarded Anthony Edwards really well. He was really physical against him, and he just takes a lot of pride when he's guarding guys like that. Even he was asking to switch on Julius Randle, and he was not, he was confident he can guard him as well.
How did you see Scottie's performance impact RJ Barrett positively?
I think them sharing the court together, just they can play off of each other. Scottie had the ball a lot in his hands tonight, so that opened up a little bit more room for RJ. And RJ, I thought that he was aggressive. I thought that he went to the free throw line, made his free throws tonight. Did a really good job for us.
You guys also are now still fouling it out a lot. Are you seeing it? Getting an improvement in the number of fouls you're committing?
Yeah, we sent it to the free throw line 39 times tonight, right? So a couple of games ago it was 43, so we're getting better. We're getting better. It's such a fine line. We got to do a much better job of being intentional, how we use hands, actually how to use hands less. I think we're doing a really good job being disruptive, and that's one area that we're constantly addressing that we need to get better at, and I believe that we will.
Why did you go with that starting lineup tonight?
I wanted to have fun, so you guys have fun as well. Yeah. I think slowly as our guys are starting to come back, I also like to see Davion coming off the bench, which is his role as a backup point guard and what he can bring to the team. But I also wanted to see Scottie having the ball more in his hands, and RJ in that first unit adding some size is not a bad thing as well. So, and also when you have a player like Davion and Chris coming off the bench and they bringing that punch like they did tonight, that was great for us.
Is there something you saw over the time when Scottie was out, or a couple you've been missing guys, that allowed you the opportunity to go without a traditional point guard in that lineup?
I believe so. Like the amount of pick and rolls and situations that RJ was handling, and the way he handled it, the way he was playmaking and scoring, just gave me more confidence that I can play with both of them, so they can kind of like share the responsibilities of a point guard.
Bobo provided a spark off the bench tonight too, and obviously the Raptors not a 5 start tomorrow. They're probably going to start double dipping. What is the conversation like with some of the younger guys on the team to say, here are the expectations when you're with the team versus with the G League side?
We are one team, and they need to understand that. We spend a lot of time during the summer together, coaching staffs, players. We work together, and we're really one team. Tomorrow, I invite you, all of us. I invite our fans to come and see 905 game. You're gonna see our whole roster coming over there to support their guys. So we're one family, we're one team, and that's how we operate. It's gonna be awesome to see our guys perform there. We're gonna go and cheer for them and get the dub.
Darko, the way you guys.
I'm just gonna plug it in. We're gonna have you covered post game on that one for sure. Can't wait to see Mississauga. You know, this Raptors 905 team has been on the road. They're 1-4. Ulrich just came off a huge game. If you didn't check out that live, we did it. We've covered pretty much 4 of the games so far. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's cool, man. It's really cool. And I encourage anybody, you know, who has the disposable income to go out and support the 905. Definitely go out and support the 905. And if you can't support them that way, try to support them another way. Share some of the clips, you know, that you see on Twitter, etc. I understand a lot of people think of the G League as an afterthought, but really, you know, some of the smartest people I know love the G League. So ergo, if you want to be one of the smartest people I know, support the G League.
Or the way you like your teams to play, do you need a single guy as a point guard, or are you kind of happy to have the ball handling, playmaking distributed?
I'm happy to have multiple players that can play make, and I think the more of a playmakers you have, doesn't matter position, is it shooting guard or power forward or a point guard, the more playmakers you have, the more players that are capable to create of the dribble and also good passers, I think it's better for your offense. So the more I have guys like that, the better.
Hey, it's JY.
Nice. Okay, let's get let me just get a quick couple of thoughts, and then we're gonna get Lil Jon back. Lil Jon was on before. Y'all remember Lil Jon, and then we will also get Lyra Alvarez, who was on the last live. So we'll have a lively discussion. And if you would like to call in, the link is in the description, so you can definitely call in as well. So my thoughts on this are: love the vibes, absolutely love the vibes, love everything RJ said. There was a question about the French. Now, my French is not great, but it's passable. Okay. And what do we even learn in French from grade 1 to 8? I didn't understand, Jack. Well, if you had remembered your French from grade 1 to 8, I'm pretty sure you would have known what limited French RJ spoke. And he basically said, if I recall correctly, the first question was basically like, how did Scottie coming back impact you? He said, it helped me and we won. You know, so basically that, like, I think that was it. I remember making a note of it, but then when I saw your comment, I can't remember it off memory, but it was a very short thing. Overall, man, this team feels very connected, and I'm gonna have to bitch about this. I don't want to bitch about it. I hate some of these reporters, man. The questions they ask about the Scottie at point guard, every single question. Scottie at point. How did it feel to have Scottie at point? How did it feel not to have a point guard? Blah, 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 blah. Look, man, like Scottie is a point guard. He may not be the most traditional point guard defensively, but offensively, he's more than capable of doing it. He's done it many times. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Scottie's your best point guard, your best shooting guard, your best small forward, your best power forward, and your best center. That's it. That's the beauty of Scottie, is that he's basically a 90th percentile at every single position, offensively and defensively. And he does so many awesome things on the court, which means it's really difficult to scheme against him defensively. And then on offense, you have to pretty much put like a really good defensive player on him and help aggressively, which is going to open up the paint for everybody. I really like Davion's game tonight. I don't know if I've said this 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times so far. I really did. This was probably one of the most complete games I've seen him play. And I don't even care about the box score. I can give a shit less. I don't care if he scored 1 point. I don't remember how many points he scored, but like, it was the playmaking. It was the consistency with which he ran pick and roll. It was how he settled his teammates down. It was how he ran possessions. There was maybe 3 possessions where I was like, oh, fuck. You know, like, this is bad. There's usually 15 to 25 with him every game where I'm like, oh, it's too slow. There was a backcourt violation that didn't get called. If you caught it, you know, he got over the mark literally at 15. There's plays like that which kind of catch you off. There's plays where he misses an obvious pass because he don't want to throw it. But this offense is designed for a point guard who can just make simple reads, and he hasn't been that point guard for most of the year. And coming off the bench is very natural to him because he's done it for 3 years in Sacramento behind a really good point guard in De'Aaron Fox. And so I think it's good sometimes. You get a rhythm coming off the bench, and then it kind of gets disrupted when you're starting. Coming off the bench is not comfortable for some people, but obviously it is for Davion. So I don't know. Anyways, let's bring on Lil Jon, and then towards the end of this live, I'm gonna share with you guys a little funny segment from the panel as well. Lil Jon, what's up?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
I mean, everything that Darko was saying was true.
Mhm.
First of all, you have to kind of shout out Davion. Davion, listen, I understand everything offensively that you have an issue with, but he's the only person that did anything against Anthony Edwards tonight. Like, he got into his dribble. He was getting over screens. You have to hand it to him.
For sure. Yeah. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's a certain type of player that is ball dominant that Davion is very good against. I think a Cade Cunningham, a LaMelo Ball, an Anthony Edwards. And yeah, I'm describing some of the better players in the league, but you know what I mean? Like there's certain players. I also really like how he held his position against Julius Randle in the post. Not an easy thing for a 6-foot point guard to do, but he's really strong. So yeah, Chaim Dirk saying his three's been hitting this year. They have not.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, they have not. But yeah.
I do have an issue with your anti-tank position. Anti-tank position, I should say.
Mhm.
Man, it'd be really good if we had another star player on this team. It would be really good.
Okay.
It would be really good to have.
It's
Yeah.
possible to get a star with the 10th pick, 11th pick, 14th pick, right?
Or to jump up in the lottery, sure.
That too, right? I mean, again, I mentioned this a few lives ago where I said, if you narrowly miss the play-in, you'll fall pretty far down the draft order, right? Because the teams in the West are better than you. So let's say in the West, Memphis doesn't make it, the Lakers don't make it, the Clippers don't make it. Let's just say that's the grouping, and then the Spurs don't make it. Let's just say that's the grouping of teams that don't make it in the West, right?
Did you say Utah?
Well, Utah is obviously not going to make it. I'm not talking about teams that are god awful. I'm talking about teams in the play-in, right?
Okay.
But those teams don't make it with like 38, 39 wins. But let's say you make it to the play-in as the 10th seed with 36 wins because you charge up through a very weak, schedule later in the year.
So you might still have like the 8th best odds, 7th best odds or something?
Exactly. If you don't make the playoffs. Now, it's worth noting, if you go into the play-in as a 10th, you knock out 9th, and then you knock out 8 versus 7, whatever it is, well, now you're losing your lottery pick, losing your lottery odds. You jump from 8th to basically 15th. So at that point, it'll be a very interesting conversation to have with people about whether people actually want the Raptors to make the playoffs if they're the 10th team. But I think those high leverage moments are really interesting. And, I got to tell you, I'll never bet against the Raptors in a one-off. I would never bet against the Raptors in a one-off against any team in the Eastern Conference, like other than the top teams. Like any team that's currently play-in bound, like Indiana, potentially Philly, etc. I wouldn't count the Raptors out against these teams, partially just because I trust Scottie so much in the clutch.
No, I feel that. I will say, it's not that I'm pro tank. I mean, I guess I am. I'm lying. It's that if you're tanking, you're neglecting your players on the team, which is a big no-no. Like you can't tank and then like you're just throwing down all the development hours by Scottie, IQ, Grady, RJ. You just can't do that. But I think I think if the Raptors had a top 5 pick this year, we are set for the foreseeable future. Like it's literally next year like everything starts over. It's like everything is green. It's like life has restarted. Like we are so set. Like we would have the best. We'd have a top 3 young core in the NBA, in my opinion, if we had a top 5 pick.
What are your current top 3 young cores? I'm gonna assume OKC. What's your second?
OKC, and then second would be, I guess Orlando. But
Okay.
like I think we jump. Like who's even close? Like Charlotte, no. Detroit, heck no.
San Antonio,
Utah, no. San Antonio.
Wemby,
It's a lot of
Stephon
Wemby.
Castle.
It's a lot of Wemby.
Shit. You just need that one player to work out. If that one player ends up being a 6-time league MVP, I mean, shit. Like, look, the Bucks won a championship, and name me the second best player on that championship team. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton.
I mean, maybe I'd rather be San Antonio, but I think a core. I'm like, it's a collective. So like,
Jordan T makes a really good point here. Houston's got a really good young core too. I don't know if you've been watching Alperen Şengün.
They don't have one guy that I think is better than Scottie, and I don't think the players that I imagine the Raptors could get.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you had this conversation with a Houston fan, do you think they would agree with you?
I don't know. They'd say heck no, but they also think that Jalen Green is going to be an all-star. So.
Sure. Yeah. Let me bring Layne on because I don't think we have time for like 4 different conversations. Layne, what's going on, man?
OH.
IO, what's up?
Nothing much. I'll be fast. I just want to say, great game. Absolutely beautiful game.
Scottie, you don't have to be fast. We're just having a powwow here. I just meant like I don't have the time to talk to Lil Jon and then talk to you. So we're bringing anyone on. Anyone who wants to talk. If you got something to say, call in. Yeah. So yes, you don't have to rush through your thoughts. Is my point.
Oh,
you also should say your thoughts at some point too. That'd be nice.
I hear you. No, I thought I'm happy that I think Scottie filled out the first half of this game, and I'm happy that in the second half he was like, all right, I'm not rusty, because he was not rusty. He didn't look rusty. Like his reads, he was making fast reads in the first half, right? He was in the passing lanes. He was making smart plays on defense. He's staying in front of his man. Like if you would have told me he took 3 weeks off of basketball and this is his first game back, I wouldn't have believed you.
But he didn't take 3 weeks off basketball. Worth noting.
That's true.
He's been doing a lot of conditioning work. He's been doing a lot of ball handling stuff. He's been doing a lot of shoot around. So he hasn't been completely out of rhythm. Plus, 2 days ago, I think he had his first contact practice. So, yeah, I mean, yes, there's nothing that can replicate game reps, especially when you're going up against Jaden fucking McDaniels with Rudy Gobert behind him. That's a really tough thing to come back to, man. Like we were talking the other day about what game should Scottie come back to, and everyone's like, because we didn't think that Minnesota was going to be on the table even, right? Because initially we had heard 3 weeks he'd be reevaluated, right? He went out November 4th, right? If I'm not mistaken.
October 29th.
Yeah,
oh
it was
shit!
in October.
Oh my bad. Okay, wait, what?
No, you're
right.
Good. I'm happy you came back. I'm going to the game on Sunday, so I'm gonna get.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yes, it was October 29th. So October 30th, he didn't play. Okay, facts. So he literally came back 3 weeks and 2 days after. 3 weeks and 1 day. So like it was timetable. Scottie always comes back soon. And I'm pretty sure like if they would have let him play with that mask, like he would have played the last game too. So it's like, okay. So now he's on a minutes restriction. We'll see how long he has to wear the goggles for. Hopefully not forever. You know, that would suck. But yeah, like I mean, I think he's just gonna get better and better. And yeah, what's the next game? Is it Detroit?
It's Cleveland on Sunday. I'm gonna be there.
Live. Oh goddamn.
then at Detroit on a back-to-back.
Right on. So at Cleveland and then at Detroit. Yo, Scottie not ducking the smoke at all. Eh? He's like, yo, bring it all on. I'm gonna flash guns on Minnesota and Cleveland. Cool.
God, I hope so.
Okay, what is going to be the level of hysteria in Raptorland if the Raptors beat the Cavs on Sunday?
I might not make it out of Cleveland alive. They might jump me if we win. You know how ignorant I'm going to be if we win?
Oh my God, I almost said, you know how ignorant Cavs fans are. My bad. I was projecting. My bad.
They are.
I would love to be wrong, but I don't know if this team can win against good teams on the road. Like, I don't know if that's like,
They
again,
haven't won a single game on the road yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
so
winless
like,
on the road.
I don't know
And I
if they
have a
can
feeling
beat
that is a
good
point that has been consistently hammered home.
Yeah, well, I guess they're going to be going for a road win. So,
But
I
you
guess
know
that's
why that is, right? Because role players play better at home. Young players play better at home. The Raptors' entire team is role players and young players. The only player who doesn't really fit that role player mold are the guys who've actually been good on the road, right? Jakob Poeltl. I guess Jakob Poeltl is still a role player, but he's not a shooting role player. You know what I mean? Like who played well on the last road trip? Ochai played really well on the last road trip. Grady played okay on the last road trip. Did he?
I think RJ was the only one that struggled on the last road trip, but I think it was just a funk, to be honest with you. I think now that Scottie's back, his efficiency is going to get a lot better.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the splits were last year, but I don't seem to remember any indications that Scottie struggles on the road. He's perfectly fine. He's actually pretty good on the road, so he'll be fine. My pleasure.
I would like to ask you guys a basketball question, something I've been thinking about recently. Who would you guys prefer for Masai to go after? Like, both of these guys are in similar positions on teams that, you know, don't necessarily need them currently and are young and have a lot of potential and are, again, really early in their career. A is Jarris Walker and B is Jabari Smith Jr. Who would you prefer for Masai to take a swing on?
Provided that the price is equal.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, just who do you think could potentially be better? Because I really like both, potentially.
I would go with. I mean,
it's close, right?
It's really close.
I would go with Jabari though.
I've been impressed with Jarris' shooting potential.
I don't know if if Siakam couldn't get you Jarris and they would have rather given you 3 first-round picks instead. I don't know if you can
if I'm the Pacers, there has to be a consolidation trade coming because they're going nowhere right now. They need to give up a couple of guys to get a
But
real
don't
guy.
you think they would wait until they were healthy before pulling the panic button?
Well, I'm assuming this is in a couple of months, maybe. Who knows? Maybe this summer, but just in the future. But I think I'd prefer Jarris because I'm a little afraid of Jabari. Like, his shooting has just completely gone south from what he was doing in college, and at least Jarris' shooting has gone up from what he was doing in college. You know.
Well, here's the thing.
It's trending up.
I don't necessarily think that you're wrong. Necessarily, Jabari is bigger. He's, but he hasn't been able to handle the basketball. His shooting has regressed, and I'm a little bit scared. Honestly, I liked him more than Paolo coming out of the draft. So that's me with egg on my face.
So did I.
That's me with egg on my face. I had him as the number 1 player in that draft class. So I had him narrowly over Chet. And it's not because I didn't like Chet more. I did like Chet more. I just felt like he was the obvious pick at number 1 for the Orlando Magic. And yeah, now thinking back on it, like, what did I miss? And I think part of it is just the creation. All those concerns at Auburn of he's not able to break his man down the dribble, blah, 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 blah. And, those are some of the same concerns that people had about Scottie Barnes. He's not able to create separation at a good enough level, and he still made it work. So I was like, damn, positional versatility, can guard 1 through 5. He hasn't been guarding 1 through 5, number 1. He hasn't been particularly great at it, number 2. He had a pretty good night last night, but I'm willing to see more. Jarris Walker is another guy that I was super high on. Really high on. I think I was as high as 6th or 7th in the draft on him. So not quite first. I haven't seen anything from Jarris Walker that would give me concern at all, though.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like, I haven't.
I mean, for what it's worth, I would take Dyson Daniels over both. But yeah.
Look how right you.
Sorry, what'd you say?
But we both spoke about Dyson Daniels really highly. I remember talking to you, like, because I was a big Pelicans fan. Used to be a big Pelicans fan, and we both really love Dyson.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I I think I would lean.
I would take Jarris over Dyson, by the way.
Oh, whoa. Really?
Yeah.
That's how high you are on him.
I'm really impressed with the shooting touch. Like, again, this is supposed to be his weakness. I just think he doesn't get to play.
I didn't really identify him as a weak shooter at all. I saw a lot of his pre-draft stuff. He didn't look like a weak shooter to me, but yeah, weak compared to who? Compared to Steph Curry, sure, but compared to, I mean, it's funny. Like prior to the draft and in a pre-draft interview, they asked him, "Who do you compare your game to?" And who do you think he chose? It's a wing in the NBA. Who does he remind you of?
I think I heard it. I think I remember him saying it was something crazy, like Jason Tatum or something.
It was Tatum.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
so I guess he's always had some scoring touch.
He totally has. Yeah. Did you watch him in Houston?
I did, but he seemed really power forwardy at Houston, and then I guess with the Pacers, he feels kind of 3-ish. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's just the position that he's playing because Siakam's there, but he seems more wingy.
Okay. I have a follow-up question for you since you are talking about wings, or at least bigs who transition to wings. How do you stack Jonathan Mobo next to those guys? He's technically older than them.
How have you felt about Jonathan Mobo so far?
I love him, but it's a mixed bag. Lot of, there's a version of this that works out so goddamn beautifully, but he's going to have to work at it really hard. There's also a version of this that's a bench player for like 6 years and then it's in Europe. Now, I'm sorry to keep sending people to Europe. First Davion, talked about Jamal Shed, talked about Malachi Flynn last year. We talked about Fred VanVleet, Dylan. I just keep sending everyone to China and Europe. Should I just rename my channel ICE? It's like a deportation channel. But
I'll give you my thoughts. So I'm not comparing him to this guy because he has the same complexion and the same hairstyle.
If you compare him to Precious, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
No, I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say
Kenneth
someone
Faried?
way better. Yes, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say he needs to play offensively with a lot of force and energy for him to ever be somewhat respectable on offense, because he plays very timid around the rim, and that is like really lowering his ceiling offensively. Like he needs to play with force on offense.
He doesn't have the length. He doesn't have the size or the skill, and he's never played with
Montrezl Harrell is not that much bigger than him, and he played with force.
Montrezl Harrell was also really strong. You understand that? Like Jonathan Mobo may look, he's not that big though. That's the crazy part.
Harrell was kind of wide. Yeah.
Number one, Montrez, like, first of all, one of the biggest things, y'all remember the Rico runs when Montrez was guarding Scottie and Scottie bumped him and he went like 4 feet?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I was actually going over a lot of Scottie workout tape from like 3 years ago. And you know who's working out with him? Jonathan Mobo. In a lot of it. So that's why Scottie's so good at finishing over length. He's been going up against this guy for years. So that's been very helpful. Look, I'm positive that he's going to come back next year a better player. He works way too hard. He's not like the type of guy who's just going to waste his opportunity, but he needs to get a lot stronger, and he needs to become a lot more skilled. And his touch is okay, I guess, but yeah, I think it's just he overthinks it a little bit. There's confidence, it's all these rookies have the same problem. All of them have the same problem to some extent, with the exception of Jameson Novato, who is,
I was about to mention him. Like, have you noticed that Darko is kind of like, he's starting to use him like he's like his safety blanket? Like, if he feels a little uncomfortable with the bench unit, he'll just bring him in because he feels so steady.
He should bring him in. He's good.
So steady. I love that guy.
He is, among all the rookies, he is number one on Darko's board for rotation right now. I'll guarantee it. If we go down to an 8-man, 9-man rotation, I'll guarantee you he finds a way to play this guy. You're going to have to convert him. We already converted him. Do we ever?
No, we haven't.
Oh, dear Lord. We have to convert him very soon.
I don't think he should go down to the 905.
What's going to be tough, though, is Olynyk, I don't know if they're waiting for Olynyk to come back before they cut Bruno, but like Bruno's got to be the odd man out here, right?
Oh, easily.
Yeah, I mean,
Batatse was just sitting right there.
I think that's what it is. I think that they're waiting for Olynyk to come back before they can cut Bruno, because if you cut Bruno now, I mean, even though he's not playing, then you're down to one center.
Well, we just played without a center against one of the better centers in the NBA tonight, and we were fine.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying.
Do you legit think that Bruno Fernando was going to make a difference tonight?
Hell no. No, I'm just saying what I think that they're thinking. The reason why they haven't done it yet. Because I mean, Bruno's contract is not guaranteed. Like it's so obvious. Like it can't be more obvious.
They pushed his guarantee date till December, right?
I think it's
January.
December. It's either December 15th or January 15th.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that gives them maximum flexibility in terms of being able to give them like the ability to still make a trade and waive him without having to take on his contract. So that'll be good.
And
anyway,
that could be that's another thing. I think they're waiting on. I just hope that they don't. I just hope they don't screw up with Battle, because I feel like we've for like 4 years now been trying to get a guy of this archetype, and you finally have one that knocks down shots consistently.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
And if you let this go by the wayside because he's too old or whatever, whatnot, I mean, like what have you been trying with all these other dudes for?
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the clips of Darko working with him in practice?
Yeah.
Looks like there's a lot of investment there. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. He's a really competent defender. I did not see that coming.
Neither did I. And I watched him at Ohio State all last year.
Yeah, he's gotten so much better athletically. And, you know, I've been seeing some of the work that he's been doing with his trainer. Shout outs, you know, and like this guy is grinding. And the way he's getting better, like at least from what I saw at Ohio State till today, there might be some like real upside here that he's going to carve out like a 9-year career, you know?
Yeah, I legit think he could be a top 200 player in the NBA at some point.
I agree. I think he has the ability to be somewhere between one of the Cavs forwards, right? Like, you know, the Cavs poo-poo platter of forwards, George Niang, Max Strus,
Dean Wade.
Dean Wade. Exactly. Yeah. So he's not as big as Dean Wade, and he's not as Elon Musk as George Niang.
W roast.
Oh dear God. He's not quite there, but somewhere in the middle. And I wouldn't be surprised if he, you know, if he does become like a Duncan Robinson type. Like his shot is.
But I just think that I don't know. I think he's more than that. Like I think he's better than Niang right
because of the defense.
I think because of the defense, because of the rebounding potential. I mean I honestly think that he's gonna have he's a good passer too. He reads the game well. Like he did a lot of pick and roll last year at Ohio State too. And that's something that he really hasn't had a chance to do yet with the Raptors. One, because like every time he's on the floor, he's fifth on the totem pole with like ball handling. Even if Jakob Poeltl's out there, he's still fifth on the totem pole, right? And then two, like just hasn't had the opportunity yet. And I think if he does start to get the opportunity for one reason or another, right, he'll show it. But like he can really handle the ball too. Like he's not a Duncan Robinson, George Niang type of player. Like I mean, he's good mid range. Like he could legit be. I don't even know what his comparison is.
Thanks for tuning in. It was a huge win for the Toronto Raptors. Please hit like and subscribe. And thank you very, very much to every single person for your super chats, starting with Priceless Entertainment, Canadian Guy, Shata, AC, Bueno Kitty, as always. Good luck there with the fourth quarter gang. Rank Scrub, as always. Have you seen Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton? Big. I have not. And I missed this super chat, and I apologize. But no, I have not. And I thank you for putting me onto him. And JT1111, thank you for the late live. My pleasure. I hope y'all had a really good day. The Raptors won. Just enjoy this moment, man. I told you at the beginning of the year, win, lose, draw, irrelevant. And I like this idea of driving circles in the parking lot. That's really what it is. You're driving circles in the parking lot. You're getting a feel for who you are as a team, who your players are, who your development prospects are, what your system's going to be, how well these engines can drive the system forward. It's a learning experience. That's what the rebuild is. But trust in Masai and Darko and Scottie and the leadership of this team in very good hands, and big win tonight. Big win. And I'm not going to cap. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Minnesota Timberwolves are the title favorites or anything like that, or you beat some historic offense. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves shot themselves in the foot a lot tonight. I think that a lot of what went right for the Raptors may not be replicable. And I think we're going to know a lot more about the Raptors when they go up against the 15-1 Suns. Sorry, the 15-1 Cavs. So we will have that game covered on Sunday, the 24th. The Raptors have a day and then they're now on the road. And we will have you covered Friday night, which is tonight, if you're watching this tomorrow, the G League. Can't wait to see the G League. Going to see all the Raptors there, obviously. And, Ulrich Shamshay, possibly Jakob Poeltl in the G League. We'll see. Get some reps, get some confidence. The vibes are back, guys. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Take care.